Warrior Lore. Chapter 3863. Of the 5 fleas in the 9 essences universe, we've already locked onto the positions of 2 of them. Let's use all of our power to wipe them out. That won't be a problem. In addition to killing them, we'll launch an all-out attack. Even if we can't destroy the 9 essences universe's starry sky city, we'll still be able to see what they have up their sleeves. Yes, the elders ordered us to launch an all-out attack. That attack will determine what happens next. We can't just keep wasting time with the 9 essences cosmos. All of our experts are here, so there's no point in wasting time. More than 10 million years passed. Over the past 10 million years, they had been completely tied down by the 5 legions of the 9 essences universe and had never dared to split up. Although their combined strength was great, they were also a bigger target. When the disciples of the 9 essences universe hid themselves, they would only be able to kill a few dozen of them. It was impossible to encounter a large number of disciples from the 9 essences universe. However, once their forces were scattered, there was a possibility that they would be attacked. Over the past 10 million years, although they hadn't suffered any losses, they had spent all their time here. Over the past 10 million years, they had been able to recruit believers from the 9 essences universe, and had acquired some information that allowed them to lock onto 2 of the 9 essences universe's 5 battle squads. In addition, they were prepared to launch a general attack on the giant star beast after destroying these 2 teams. An all-out attack on the starry sky city. If they could break through, it would be a great victory for them. Even if he couldn't succeed, he could at least test the strength of the 9 essences universe before making further plans. Get ready, faith tracking. Within the starry sky of the starry sky cosmos, the million armies of the 8 faith cosmoses were gathered together. Leading them were the 8 faith cores trump cards. There were also 6th order sovereign realm space beasts. There were many powerful battle treasures. 8 faith legions, nearly 1,000 tier 7 gods, and nearly 10 million gods and believers. Their strength was extremely terrifying. The 8 core commanders gathered together, and the 8 core commanders looked at each other. Faith tracking. One of the rank 7 gods ordered. With a wave of his hand, an item floated in the air. Buzz, buzz, buzz. This item was a portrait of an angel clan powerhouse that they had obtained. The faith universe's faith tracking required some conditions to follow. For example, the tracker's real name, some information about the tracker, and the tracker's items. For example, the portrait of the tracker. For example, the tracker's karma. The more he obtained, the easier it would be to track them. It would be even easier if he could obtain the items of the target. Over the past tens of millions of years, they had managed to obtain a portrait of an expert from one of the 9 essences cosmos battle squads. Through the portrait, he could use faith tracking. Streams of faith power condensed in the sky, and countless shadows of believers appeared. They prayed and tracked. Tracking faith was a very troublesome and huge project. If they wanted to chase after a 7th order sovereign realm expert, they would need to mobilize at least 5 to 6 armies. Just like tracking Wang Xian, only 10 armies with a large number of believers and experts could perform the faith tracking art. This 9 essences universe is far more powerful than we imagined. I had assumed that we would be able to easily wipe it out. A rank 7 god couldn't help but sigh. After all, the 9 essences cosmos is one of the top existences among all the other cosmoses. It won't be easy to defeat them. Another rank 7 god said, "That's true. The faith universe is considered one of the stronger universes." The rank 7 god nodded. Between the universes, there was also a hierarchy. This classification was based on the strength of the experts in the universe. The 9 essences universe was not weak among all the other universes. Buzz. At this time, the massive faith power in the sky condensed into a scissor and pointed in a certain direction. We've locked onto them. Now, we need to focus on how to surround them. Otherwise, it will be hard for us to catch up if they escape. One of the rank 7 gods said, "We have a sealed treasure here. Next, we might have to rely on the Nether Heaven Palace." The rank 7 god looked at the army of one of the palaces. One of the 24 palaces, the Nether Heaven Palace. That won't be a problem. Our Netherworld Heavenly Palace's Netherworld resonance is more than enough to keep them in place. The Nine Stars Palace's side is dealing with another team. We can't let this team from the Nine Essences universe escape. The rank 7 god, leading the Nether Heaven Palace, nodded. All right. The group of gods nodded, and a smile appeared on their faces. Let's go. Chase them. The armies of the 8 palaces immediately moved out, carrying with them an invincible aura. Their speed was very fast, and with the guidance of faith tracking, they were very close to their target in 2 years. The target is very close to us. Let's go. The gods of the 8 palaces immediately sped up and flew forward. At the same time, not far away, a group of over 500 experts floated in the starry sky. These 500-plus experts came from the 12 top clans. The Black Tortoise race specialized in defense, the Fairy race specialized in long-range attacks, the Nether race specialized in assassination, the powerful skeleton experts, and so on. When they worked together, their power was doubled compared to the experts of a single race. This was also the reason why they could cause so much trouble for the Faith universe in the past 10 million years. Over 500 experts, the weakest was at the 6th Order Sovereign realm. Among them, there were 157th Order sovereigns. After all, this was the combined strength of 12 peak races. But right at this time, the 7th Order Sovereign realm expert of the Magus race suddenly felt fear, and he looked in a certain direction. Not good. There's a huge amount of faith energy rushing in our direction. This is a huge army of the Faith universe. We have to escape immediately. The 7th Order Sovereign realm expert took out a compass, and when he saw the information on it, his expression changed greatly, and he immediately shouted, "Run!" The group of 9 Essences universe experts did not hesitate, and they immediately fled into the distance. Buzz. Vast faith, believers of the gods, eternal life. Vast faith, believers of the gods, eternal life. Vast faith, believers of the gods, eternal life. Right at this moment, an extremely terrifying sound wave energy attacked them. This vast voice instantly enveloped them. Vast faith, believers of the gods, eternal life. When this voice entered their ears, it was as if they heard countless words of advice pouring into their minds. Chapter 3864. The power of faith is vast. Those who believe in the gods will gain eternal life. The power of faith is vast. Those who believe in the gods will gain eternal life. The voices of faith were transmitted into the minds of the experts and disciples of the 12 pinnacle clans. The vast voice caused their bodies to stiffen. Their eyes were blank, and their faces were filled with astonishment. They looked like they were struggling. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The Devil Clan expert's wings emitted a pitch-black radiance that slowly enveloped him. Run. Breaking free from this comfortable feeling, he hurriedly shouted loudly, "Boom, boom, 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 boom." However, just as he finished his sentence, waves of terrifying aura surged towards them. This terrifying pressure made all of them hold their breaths. Oh no, 8 legions. It's the 8 legions of the universe of faith. The expression of the Devil Clan powerhouse changed dramatically when he saw this scene. He spread his devil's wings and immediately fled into the distance. At this moment, he could no longer care about the others. Buzz. At this moment, a few experts from the Underworld clan and the Sorcerer clan regained their senses. Seeing the incoming army of faith, their faces were filled with despair. Swish, swish, swish. Swish, swish, swish. Waves of terrifying energy were already suppressing them. We can't escape. A rank 7 Underworld expert's heart trembled violently when he saw this. Boom. The energy swept towards them. The rest of the experts reacted, but it was too late. It's over. We can't escape. How did they know where we were? How did they lock onto us? 8 legions. We can't escape. Over 500 experts from the universe of faith recovered, and their hearts sank. This was a dead end. Over 500 experts from the 12 pinnacle clans were facing the 8 legions, millions of deities and believers. At such a close distance, they could no longer resist. The terrifying power of faith drowned them all in an instant. Their lives vanished in an instant. Only a rank 7 Demon Clan powerhouse managed to escape due to the fact that he possessed a treasure. The rest were all dead. Only those with treasures could be resurrected. He actually let one escape? Hee hee, it doesn't matter that one escaped. Our harvest this time is not bad. Not bad indeed. At this moment, the gods of the 8 armies flew over, the corners of their mouths slightly raised. In the 9 Essences universe, there were 5 battalions made up of the 12 peak-level races. None of the battalions were weak, but they weren't very strong either. At most, if all of his trump cards were used, he would be able to fight against an army of the Faith universe. However, in the face of the 8 legions, it was still not enough. They could be easily killed in seconds. Buzz buzz. On the other side, they also annihilated that team. At this time, one of the Tier 7 gods in the center suddenly took out his communicator and glanced at it. Then, the corners of his lips curled up into a smile. Oh, that's not bad. Next, we should prepare to attack the 9 Essences universe's Starry Sky City. Let's see what they're capable of. Let's go. Let's rendezvous with the other legions. The stage 7 gods of the 8 palaces spoke as they flew off with smiles on their faces, converging with the other 12 armies. The news of the deaths of over 1,000 experts from the 2 battalions immediately spread to the 12 peak-level races. When the experts of the various races received the news, their faces instantly turned ugly. Each of the 12 peak-level races had about 50 experts. The 6th Order and 7th Order sovereigns were already considered the high-level combat strength of each of the peak races, but now, over 100 of them had died in a short period of time. In addition, they also had trump cards in their hands. One had to know that the 5 battalions made up of the 12 peak-level races were all top-notch existences of the same level. They all had some powerful treasures in their hands. Now, all of them were dead. This was a huge loss. Even the Angel race and Phoenix race had not suffered such heavy losses when they fought with Wang Xian in the past. Let the other 3 battalions return to the Starry Sky City first. Don't make any moves for now. Also, let them keep an eye on the situation in the Starry Sky City. The Witch Tribe's ancestor frowned and said. The rest of the peak races nodded in agreement. Phoenix race, have you guys contacted the giant beasts in the depths of the Starry Sky universe? The Radiant Angel King asked the Aqua Phoenix King of the Phoenix race. We've already sent experts over, but we're not sure yet. The Aqua Phoenix King replied, the Faith universe is still too strong. We're not their match in a battle of our level. The Great Elf of the Fairy race frowned slightly and said, let's wait and see. With the Starry Sky City around, we don't have to worry too much. Let's just drag it out with them slowly. Several experts from the peak races spoke up with their brows tightly knitted. It was unknown which expert from one of the peak races had suddenly leaked the news of 2 battalions being wiped out by the Faith universe's army. This news caused a huge commotion in the Faith universe. What's going on? 2 of the armies formed by the 12 peak-level races were wiped out? How is this possible? Is the Faith universe's army of Faith so strong? We don't seem to be a match for the gods of the Faith universe. Damn it, how can they be so strong? I heard that one of the battalions had more than 500 top-notch experts, but all of them were wiped out. This is too terrifying. You should know that this was the combined strength of the 12 peak-level races of the 9 Origins universe. Countless experts and disciples in the communication stone plate were discussing this. All the experts and disciples who saw this news were shocked. The other peak races didn't refute the news when they saw it being transmitted to the communication stone plate and the huge commotion it caused. The fairy race even sent a message. If you're weak and backward, you'll get beaten up. Work hard on your cultivation. This was the tacit agreement of the peak races. This message from the fairy race once again caused a huge commotion. Countless experts and disciples started discussing this. Soon, they started shouting that they would fight their way to the Faith universe and wipe them out. Hee hee, wipe us out. With just your puny 9 Origins universe? The gods of the various palaces all had some believers in the 9 Origins universe. When they received the message from the communication stone plate of the 9 Origins universe, a cold smile appeared on their faces. We'll launch our attack in a month. The gods of the Faith universe said coldly. Chapter 3865. The Faith universe's attack on the 9 Origins universe's army caused a huge commotion. The experts and disciples of the Nine Origins universe did not dare to stay outside any longer. They all returned to the giant star city. The giant star city was the safest place in the entire Nine Origins universe. Hiss, this is? What are they doing? They are heading in the direction of our giant star city. Time passed and 20 days passed in the blink of an eye. However, on this day, in another part of the universe, a few experts from the Nine Essences universe suddenly noticed a terrifying army flying towards them from their right. A sixth-order sovereign realm giant star beast was opening the way. A large number of experts stood on top of it. There was a huge faith diagram with words of faith swirling around it. There was also a large number of experts standing on top of it. There was also an arched faith bridge that contained boundless might. There was also a large number of experts standing on top of it. There were also all kinds of treasures that looked extremely powerful from afar. When the few experts sensed this, their eyes narrowed. They exchanged glances with each other, their eyes filled with shock. What's going on? Are they going to attack our giant star city? That's possible. Quick, let's inform the experts in our race. Several experts immediately passed the news over. It was suspected that the Faith Universe's army of tens of millions was going to attack the giant star city. The news was quickly passed on. Let's see how strong the Faith Universe is. We have so many terrifying defenses and the 25,000 Dragon Palace Curse Dragons. It shouldn't be a problem. They want to test our strength, but we also want to see their strength. Let's prepare the disciples of the giant star city. A group of peak experts from the various races of the Nine Origins universe said calmly near the World Passage. The giant star city was built by the 12 peak races of the Nine Origins universe. The power they could resist was extremely terrifying. Just the 25,000 dragon cursed dragons were enough to make the Faith universe suffer. However, they could not send the dragon cursed dragons to their deaths right from the start. This was something that the peak races understood. Following that, a notice was sent out in the giant star city. Notice: the Faith universe will arrive at the giant star city within 10 days. All experts and disciples, please stay in the city and do not go out for the next few days. The Faith universe's army actually wants to attack our space city. The strength of the Faith universe is terrifying. They have over 20 legions. Can our starry sky city defend against them? It shouldn't be a problem. Can't you see that the experts and disciples of the peak races in the Starry Sky City aren't worried at all? This is a gigantic Starry Sky City built by 13 apex races. There are many treasures in the city. Even if the Faith Universe's army is very strong, they won't be able to break through. When the experts and disciples of the Nine Essences Cosmos saw this news, they began to discuss it. The powerhouses of the peak races also received an order to defend the city. In fact, they didn't need to do much to defend the city. Just the large number of formations and defensive treasures were already terrifying enough. At that time, he only needed to control it. However, there was still a need for some experts from the 13 peak races to go over and take a stand. When Prime Minister Turtle received the news, he also brought a group of mystic dragons over personally. This time, Faith Universe's attack required the experts of all the peak races to be present. At the same time, at the entrance of the Nine Essences Cosmos, the Aqua Phoenix King of the Phoenix race smiled when she saw the news on the communication stone plate. Our Phoenix race has already established contact with a race of giant space beasts. If we can provide them with sufficient resources, they will be willing to fight for us. The Aqua Phoenix King looked at the experts of the peak races and said, "Oh, how strong is that race of giant space beasts?" The eyes of the experts of the peak races lit up, and a look of excitement appeared on their faces. In the past, there was a group of giant space beasts living in their Nine Essences Cosmos, and their numbers weren't small. They had gained intelligence in the Nine Essences Cosmos, and being able to establish contact with them was definitely good news for the Nine Essences Cosmos. This race has 5 to 6 7th-order sovereigns. This strength is more than enough. The Aqua Phoenix King smiled. Enough, it's indeed enough. Then, let's contact them. We will show our sincerity. The witch race's ancestor immediately said, "It's best if we can cooperate with them to explore the universe." "Sure, I'll get my subordinates to communicate with them." The Aqua Phoenix King nodded. This shouldn't be a problem. The experts of the peak races nodded, and their eyes lit up. Auntie, we have established contact with those giant space beasts. That's the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Behind the Aqua Phoenix King, one of the Aqua Phoenixes suddenly asked softly, "There's no reason to strike now." The Aqua Phoenix King looked at the Aqua Phoenix behind him, and his eyes flickered as he replied plainly, "No reason?" The Aqua Phoenix repeated and nodded slightly. He then took out the communication stone plate and sent a message. Currently, although the Dragon Palace had reconciled with the Phoenix race and Angel race, the hatred still existed. It was especially so after Wang Xian had killed some phoenixes and angels. These phoenixes and angels also had their own kin. A temporary reconciliation did not mean that some hatred could be resolved. After the Aqua Phoenix sent the message, a cold look flashed in his eyes. Within the Starry Cosmos, the news of the Faith Cosmos army attacking the Starry Sky Giant City had spread for 2 days. Some experts outside the Starry Sky Giant City had returned to the city. They wanted to watch the great battle. It was especially so for the experts and disciples of the peak races. They had some understanding of the strength of the Starry Sky Giant City. Therefore, they were confident that the Starry Sky Giant City would not be breached. Since there was no danger, they naturally wanted to come and watch the great battle. They wanted to see the might of the Starry Sky Giant City and how strong the Faith Cosmos army was. As for the experts and disciples of the peak races, they were not afraid. One by one, they returned to the Starry Sky Giant City. When the experts and disciples of the peak races saw this scene, they were naturally not afraid. If the disciples of the peak races were not worried, what were they worried about? This also increased the number of experts and disciples in the Starry Sky Giant City to a terrifying level. There were people almost everywhere, or people who had taken human form. Chapter 3866. Let's go. I heard that the Faith Universe's army is coming. Let's hurry and be careful. Hee, we've gained a lot this time. Maybe it won't be long before we can advance to the Third Order Sovereign Realm. Indeed, with the resources provided by our Dragon King, our cultivation speed can't be any faster. I haven't seen our Dragon King for tens of millions of years. I wonder where he is now. Not far from the giant Starry Sky City, more than a dozen Dragon Palace experts were flying towards the city with smiles on their faces. Nowadays, all the disciples of the Dragon Palace were working hard to improve their strength. After tens of millions of years, the disciples of the Dragon Palace had grown a lot. Some of the top disciples had reached the Second Order Sovereign Realm. The top ones had reached the Fourth Order Sovereign Realm. Of course, this group of Dragon Palace experts did not include the Charm Dragon and Aosia. To be able to reach the Fourth Order Sovereign Realm in a short period of tens of millions of years, this speed was already very terrifying. This was all because of the Heart of Faith. They're coming. Attack directly and destroy them. Finally. I've tolerated those guys from the Dragon Palace for tens of millions of years. This time, it's finally time to act. In the past, the Dragon King of Dragon Palace gained the upper hand by relying on the ancient god Kuan Breeder. If it wasn't for the ancient god Kuan Breeder, we would have destroyed Dragon Palace a long time ago, and they wouldn't be as mighty as they are now. Now that our elder has asked us to take action, he must be looking for a reason to destroy Dragon Palace. The strength of the Dragon Palace is not qualified to be compared to our Phoenix clan. If it weren't for special reasons, we would have destroyed the Dragon Palace long ago. Okay, let's do it. At the same time, more than a dozen phoenixes were not far from the Dragon Palace disciples. They looked at the Dragon Palace disciples flying towards them with cold eyes. Stop, you despicable guys from the Dragon Palace. How dare you rob us of our treasures? Take it out. More than a dozen Dragon Palace disciples were flying towards the giant Starry Sky City. At this time, they were only a few minutes away from the city. Suddenly, a cold voice rang out. This made the Dragon Palace disciples slightly stunned, their faces filled with astonishment. In the next moment, they saw more than a dozen phoenixes attacking them. Streaks of ice blades flew towards them. Be careful. When the disciples of Dragon Palace saw this, their faces changed slightly and they quickly hid to the side. Boom. You want to escape? You won't be able to. Today, we will definitely kill you. More than 10 water phoenixes flew over. Their faces were filled with coldness and awe-inspiring divine dragons. They flapped their phoenix wings and attacked. The leader of the group was a third-order sovereign realm water phoenix. Although the strength of a third-order sovereign wasn't very strong, it was still a piece of cake for him to chase down and kill the dozen disciples of the Dragon Palace. When did we steal your treasures? A disciple of Dragon Palace in the middle shook and immediately turned into a fire divine dragon. He directly spewed out streams of dragon breath to meet their attacks and roared angrily. Are you still not going to admit it? If you don't admit it, we will annihilate all of you. The water phoenix in the center roared with a menacing expression. We're no match for them. Run. Run to the giant starry sky city. The experts of our Dragon Palace are there. A dozen disciples of Dragon Palace felt their power. Their expressions changed dramatically, and they quickly flew forward. You can't run away. Go to hell. Don't think that we won't fight back just because you're from the Dragon Palace. Die. A dozen water phoenixes flapped their huge phoenix wings at the same time. Sharp blades fell from the sky and covered the dozen disciples of Dragon Palace. They are deliberately looking for trouble. Despicable and shameless Phoenix clan. Our Dragon King will not let you off. A dozen disciples of Dragon Palace heard their voices and continued to resist the attacks from the sky. Their faces were incomparably ugly. We are looking for trouble? We have retreated again and again. It's your Dragon Palace who wants a foot after giving an inch. Don't think that we, the Phoenix clan, are inferior to you. Today, I will kill you. The leading water phoenix roared loudly. Chirp, chirp. A phoenix cry resounded through the sky. Huh, what's going on? What happened over there? It's the experts of the Phoenix clan. It seems that there are also disciples of Dragon Palace. Did they have a fight? I don't know. It seems that the disciples of Dragon Palace robbed the disciples of the Phoenix clan. But the disciples of Dragon Palace said that they didn't rob it? What's going on? It can't be. The experts of the Phoenix clan and the experts of Dragon Palace are fighting? At this time, some experts in the giant starry sky city noticed the situation outside the city. Their faces were filled with astonishment. The position of the dozen disciples of Dragon Palace was very close to the giant starry sky city. During the fight, they fled to this side for some distance. This made the experts in the giant starry sky city feel it. Hearing the noise over there and the location of the fight, they were filled with astonishment. Their eyes lit up as they stared carefully. The situation over there quickly attracted the attention of the other experts and disciples in the giant starry sky city. One by one, they flew into the sky and looked in that direction with astonishment. How dare you rob our treasures? Die. One by one, the experts and disciples looked over. At this time, they saw more than a dozen phoenixes with a third-order sovereign realm water phoenix approaching the group of experts from Dragon Palace. Terrifying attacks engulfed them. Due to the suppression of their levels, the disciples of Dragon Palace could only look back in horror. Puff, puff, puff. After the energy passed, more than a dozen disciples of Dragon Palace were killed. The experts of the Phoenix clan killed more than a dozen experts of Dragon Palace. What the hell is going on? Is the war between the Phoenix clan and Dragon Palace going to break out? It can't be. When our nine-source universe is at war with the Faith universe, how can there be internal strife? On the giant starry sky city, the experts and disciples were shocked when they saw this scene, especially when they saw the group of experts from the Phoenix clan killing the experts of Dragon Palace. Some experts from other top clans looked at this scene with shining eyes. It's finally here. But why did the Phoenix clan choose this time? The grievances between the Dragon Palace, the Phoenix clan, and the Angel clan can't be resolved. In the end, it will break out. But this time is special. Some experts on the giant starry sky city murmured. Chapter 3867. Her? The news of the dozen disciples of Dragon Palace being killed spread like wildfire. Prime Minister Turtle soon received the news. When he saw the news, his expression changed drastically. He immediately informed Enlai to revive them with the soul-returning wood. He frowned slightly and immediately passed the news to Wang Xian. Her. At the same time, at the edge of the endless starry sky, Wang Xian and the rest were searching for the gods who believed in the universe. Prime Minister Turtle's sudden message made him slightly stunned, especially when he saw the contents inside. His eyes slowly revealed a cold expression. Have you found out the details? Wang Xian asked Prime Minister Turtle. Dragon King, I haven't found anything for the time being. According to some witnesses, the experts of the Phoenix clan said that a dozen disciples of our Dragon Palace robbed their treasures. Now I have asked Enlai to resurrect them, but I need some time to know the details. Prime Minister Turtle replied. All right, revive those dozen disciples as soon as possible and ask them about the details. If it's the responsibility of Dragon Palace, we'll bear it ourselves. But what if the Phoenix clan is looking for trouble? As Wang Xian spoke, he squinted his eyes. In that case, send the Phantom Dragon to attack the members of the Phoenix clan. Deal with it secretly first. We'll decide what to do after I return. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle answered immediately. Xiao Xian, what's the matter? Lan Qingyue asked from the side. More than a dozen disciples of Dragon Palace were killed by the Phoenix clan in public. The details are still unknown. If the Phoenix clan is looking for trouble, then this time, we will kill all their experts, disciples, and affiliated clans in the Starry Sky universe. Wang Xian said with a stern face. He was a reasonable person, and the Dragon Palace was also a reasonable force. If it was the disciples of Dragon Palace who robbed them of their treasures, the Dragon Palace would bear the responsibility. But if the Phoenix clan was looking for trouble, a war would break out. He had been silent for tens of millions of years. Did they really think they could catch up to him? The Phoenix clan? Lan Qingyue nodded her head heavily. The Divine Dragon clan and the Phoenix clan were on good terms in the past. I didn't expect them to do such a thing after the fall of the Divine Dragon clan. I don't know. Wang Xian shook his head. But now, if anyone dares to provoke us, we'll definitely make them pay a terrible price. Now, let's go and destroy the gods of this faith universe. As Wang Xian spoke, he continued flying forward. In this area, it was completely up to luck to meet the gods of the universe. However, the range was limited, and there was still a high chance of encountering it. Maybe tomorrow, maybe a year later. There was an element of luck involved. Just as Wang Xian was continuing his search for believers, a huge commotion broke out in the communication stone plate in the Nine Origins universe, located in the Starry Sky City. However, as the various powers discussed the matter, they were all extremely astonished. Because the Dragon Palace had not responded at all. He did not make any statement. It was like nothing had happened. This caused all the experts and disciples of the Peak clans and other high-level clans to be very surprised. This was not in line with the style of the Dragon Palace. 2 days had passed, but there was still no response from the Dragon Palace. It was as if nothing had happened. It's strange that the Dragon Palace did not respond. But maybe this is normal. After all, our Phoenix clan is no longer the Phoenix clan that has just stepped into the Starry Sky universe. The Dragon King's combat strength is at most at the 9th Order Sovereign Realm, which we can deal with. But when it comes to experts of other levels, the Dragon Palace is far behind. If another war breaks out, the Dragon Palace will definitely be crushed by us. Lowering their heads and keeping quiet is the best choice for them. At the same time, in a corner of the Starry Sky City, several 7th Order sovereigns from the Phoenix clan were laughing and chatting. But we can't just let it go. The Deacon has ordered us to do so. We don't know when the Faith Universe's army will attack. Let's not kill the disciples of the Dragon Palace for the time being. Let's talk about it first. One of the 7th Order Sovereign Realm Phoenixes spoke. The other Phoenixes nodded in agreement. The reason why the Dragon Palace did not say anything is because they know that they can't afford to provoke our Phoenix clan. At that time, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had the upper hand. That's why the Dragon Palace dared to be so arrogant towards us. Now that our Phoenix clan has caught up with them in terms of peak combat strength, what is the Dragon Palace to us? So what if our Phoenix clan killed a dozen experts from the Dragon Palace? Did he really think that our delaying tactic was because we were really afraid of the Dragon Palace? Afraid of the Dragon King? Our Phoenix clan killed a dozen disciples from the Dragon Palace. Does the Dragon Palace dare to let out a fart? All of a sudden, such news appeared in the communication stone plate. As soon as the news came out, it caused quite a stir. What? No way. The Phoenix clan is so fierce? Aren't they afraid of the Dragon King's revenge? This seems to be what the Phoenix clan's experts said. One of the accounts really belongs to the Phoenix clan. It's definitely from the Phoenix clan. Otherwise, who would dare to pretend to be an expert of the Phoenix clan? All the experts and disciples who saw the message in the communication stone plate were discussing in shock. Oh, interesting. On the side of the Angel clan, the experts and disciples of the Angel clan smirked when they saw the news in the communication stone plate. They immediately began to send out some messages on the communication stone plate. Don't be fooled by the fact that the Dragon Palace was stronger in the past. At that time, it was all because of the ancient god Kuan breeder. Without the ancient god Kuan breeder, would the Angel clan be afraid of them? However, tens of millions of years have passed. Given the foundation of the Angel clan and the Phoenix clan, we are no longer weaker than the ancient god Kuan breeder. We have nothing to fear. Apart from the ancient god Kuan breeder, the rest of the Dragon Palace are trash. Especially the experts at the Dominator level. They can't be compared to the other peak clans. In addition, the Dragon Palace didn't participate in the counterattack against the Faith Cosmos or the establishment of the 9 Origin Universe battle team. Firstly, the Dragon Palace is relatively weak. Secondly, they are indeed trash. The Dragon Palace didn't participate in the war between the 9 Origin Universe and the Faith Cosmos. How can such a Dragon Palace be considered a peak clan of the 9 Origin Universe? Chapter 3868. All of a sudden, public opinion exploded in the communication stone plate. The message that the Phoenix race powerhouses had issued in the communication stone plate was suspected to be the message that the Angel race had issued in the communication stone plate. It could be said to have caused a huge sensation. The Angel race is also participating? What's going on? Are they going to start a war with the Dragon Palace again? That's possible. After all, the Dragon Palace killed many of their disciples. It won't be easy to resolve this grudge. The Angel race's words make sense. The Dragon Palace's disciples didn't participate in the recent war with the Faith Universe. I wonder what's going on. Is it really because the Dragon Palace is weak? I saw a lot of Sovereign Realm experts in the Dragon Palace, but it seems like they are mostly first or second order sovereigns. There are very few third order sovereigns and above. I haven't seen any. No matter how you look at it, the Dragon King and the others of the Dragon Palace are not participating in these battles. This is a war between the 9 Origins Cosmos and the Faith Cosmos. All the other peak races are participating. It's not right for the Dragon Palace to not participate. The Dragon Palace is wrong in the war between our 9 Origins universe and the Faith universe. After all, when the Cataclysm comes, it will be a war between universes. If our 9 Origins universe isn't united, we might be destroyed. The experts and disciples of various races discussed in the communication stone plate. Some disciples from the Angel race and Phoenix race started to criticize the Dragon Palace for not participating in the war against the Faith Universe's army. This was something that all of the peak races and the disciples of the 9 Essences Cosmos agreed with. It was obviously wrong for the Dragon Palace to not participate in the war between the 9 Origins universe and the Faith universe. This was clearly the behavior of cowards and cowards. So what if our Phoenix race killed the disciples of the Dragon Palace? Humph. Although the Dragon Palace is the weakest among the 13 peak races, they didn't do anything in the war against the Faith universe. What cowards! What trash! In the hall of a restaurant in the Starry Sky City, many experts and disciples were discussing the Dragon Palace. An expert from the Phoenix clan suddenly spoke with disdain on his face. His words caused the surrounding people to be slightly shocked. Saying it out in public was obviously a provocation to the Dragon Palace. In the past, many experts and disciples of the Phoenix clan were unhappy because of Heavenly Fire-Grade Ancestor. They even scolded them behind their backs. But on this matter, they couldn't say anything. At the very least, during the war between the Nine Origin Cosmos and the Faith Cosmos, the Phoenix clan didn't hide away like the Dragon Palace. In this aspect, the Phoenix clan did not blacken, but the Dragon Palace did not. This public opinion quickly swept through the entire Starry Sky City. Currently, tens of billions of experts and disciples from the Nine Origins universe had gathered in the Starry Sky City. Any piece of news would spread very quickly. Gradually, more and more disciples of the Nine Origins Cosmos began to talk about the Dragon Palace not participating in the war with the Starry Sky Cosmos. This had greatly affected the reputation of the Dragon Palace. The high-level subsidiary races that were close to the Angel race and the Phoenix race even said that the Dragon Palace was a coward in the Nine Essences universe, and that it didn't deserve to be a top race in the Nine Essences universe. Naturally, Prime Minister Turtle also received the news. He transmitted everything to Wang Xian. It seems like the Phoenix clan is deliberately provoking us. In the ocean at the edge of the infinite starry sky, Wang Xian squinted his eyes and had a sinister look. The massacre of the disciples of the Dragon Palace 2 days ago might have been because of the disciples of the Dragon Palace. But now, the sudden outbreak of public opinion was obviously against the Dragon Palace. Hee. To say that the Dragon Palace didn't participate in the war against the Faith Cosmos? Wang Xian sneered. It seems like I have to find the gods of the Faith Cosmos as soon as possible and then return. Everyone who did wrong will pay a terrible price. He murmured. Lan Qingyue, who was standing at the side, suddenly exclaimed. Wang Xian heard her exclamation and looked over. Xiao Xian, I can sense the aura of the gods of the Faith Cosmos. They should be heading towards us. Lan Qingyue looked at Wang Xian and said, Are we finally going to meet them? Wang Xian was delighted when he heard Lan Qingyue's words. They're here. Lan Qingyue nodded and looked in a direction. Qingyue, hide first. Wang Xian waved his arm and kept Lan Qingyue into the mother nest. He moved and sat there motionlessly, as though he didn't sense the gods of the Faith Cosmos. I can sense the aura of the Dragon King. At this moment, over 200 rank 7 gods were flying aimlessly on Wang Xian's left. Suddenly, the rank 7 god in the center of the battlefield narrowed his eyes, a cold glint flashing in his eyes as he spoke. Her? Are you sure? The surrounding rank 7 gods were taken aback as they looked at him to confirm. I'm 100% sure. I can sense the aura of the Dragon King even if he's reduced to ashes. He's just ahead. We must eliminate him this time. The rank 7 gods nodded heavily as his eyes were filled with flames of hatred. Previously, he was the only one who escaped with the help of a treasure when he was being hunted by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Not only did he feel humiliated, but he also lost a life-saving treasure. This filled him with rage and made him want to kill him for revenge. Now, it was finally here. Let's go and fly over immediately. We can't let the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace escape this time. We must eliminate the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace this time. More than 200 gods nodded their heads solemnly. They moved and flew in that direction rapidly. He's just ahead. I can see him. Lock onto him first. Stars, sky-sealing palm. The rank 7 gods flew over and immediately noticed Wang Xian sitting cross-legged in front of them. Their eyes lit up. The 7 gods in charge of the star field fragment did not hesitate and immediately channeled their energy into the star field fragment. At the side, the 3 rank 7 gods moved their palms and runic spheres that looked like stars flew into the sky. These runic spheres arrived above Wang Xian at a terrifying speed, following which, palms that were clasped together appeared in the sky. The gigantic palms, which were clasped together, sealed off the entire domain. This was a powerful sealing treasure in the Faith Cosmos that could trap even rank 9 gods. Chapter 3869. Sky Palms. Massive palms appeared around Wang Xian out of thin air. As the palms connected, the terrifying power of faith sealed off Wang Xian's surroundings. The palms had sealed off an entire starry sky. Wang Xian's eyes flickered when he saw the power of forbidden space and the murderous gazes in front of him. Swish, swish, swish. Before he could make a move, over 200 rank 7 gods had already flown over and surrounded Wang Xian. In the center, the 8 rank 7 gods who controlled the stellar field fragment did not dodge when they saw Wang Xian. Instead, stars flew out from the stellar field fragment and surrounded Wang Xian as well. A double blockade. Ha ha ha, Dragon King of Dragon Palace, let's see where you can escape to this time. Let's see how you can escape this time. The only surviving rank 7 god flew over and stared at Wang Xian, who was trapped in the center, with a malevolent look on his face. His eyes were filled with excitement as he roared. Wang Xian looked at him and swept his gaze across the 200 rank 7 gods around him. Your faith universe really thinks highly of me. To think that you would send over 200 rank 7 gods this time. Hee hee. A faint smile appeared on his face as he calmly said, "How can you still smile at this time? Dragon King of Dragon Palace, do you really think that we can't do anything to you? Let me tell you, as long as we can kill you, we can bring your corpse back. At that time, the experts of Faith Universe will hunt you down. Even if you have a treasure that can revive you, we can still kill you." The rank 7 gods said with a stern look. After tens of millions of years of pursuit and escape, they had a detailed understanding of Wang Xian's strength. To them, the Dragon King of Dragon Palace was at most a rank 7 sovereign. All of them relied on treasures to unleash strength comparable to a rank 9 god. However, they were well aware of Wang Xian's trump cards. Over these tens of millions of years, Wang Xian had been trapped here and could not have made any improvements. This also meant that his strength had not changed. Under such circumstances, he was 100% confident that he could annihilate him. Hee hee, you guys from the universe of faith want to kill me? Wang Xian stared at him and sneered. Don't tell me you guys think that we have been discovered? Wang Xian's words stunned the tier 7 gods who believed in the universe. They narrowed their eyes and scanned their surroundings. Dragon King, are you going to tell us that you are waiting for us here? Haha, then I want to see how you are going to resist the starfield fragment of our faith universe. Don't talk nonsense with him. Kill the Dragon King of Dragon Palace first. The rank 7 god roared. Kill him. How dare you kill the experts of our belief universe? Today shall be the day of your Dragon Palace's Dragon King's death. Dragon King of Dragon Palace, it's your honor to die in our hands. Over 200 gods stared at Wang Xian and remarked coldly. Their auras began to rise. Woo-woo-woo, woo-woo-woo. Upon hearing their words, Wang Xian revealed a smile. He waved his arm and Lan Qingyue appeared beside him. Lan Qingyue stood there and smiled faintly. In an instant, an incomparably huge black hole appeared behind them, and Little Blue's figure emerged from the black hole. Break. Lan Qingyue did not hesitate. She waved her arm and similarly formed terrifying gray palms. The gray palms attacked the sky-sealing palm. Little Blue, don't let them escape. Don't leave a single one alive. Kill them all. Wang Xian shouted immediately. The Tai Chi dragon plate around him began to spin, and the 5 elements grindstone hovered above his head. The Soul Battleship and Soul Spear appeared at the same time. 4 Nether Ghost avatars appeared on his left and right. In an instant, Wang Xian unleashed almost all his trump cards. Boom, 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 boom. At this moment, Lan Qingyue's attack collided with the sky-sealing palm. The horrifying attack caused the huge palms of faith formed by the sky-sealing palm to crumble rapidly. Lan Qingyue's strength had reached the 7th Order Sovereign Realm after Little Blue's reverse nurturing. Without the suppression of the Starfield universe, she could unleash the strength of a pinnacle sovereign. That was equivalent to the strength of a pinnacle pantheon expert. The heavenly palm forbidding space was easily defeated. At the same time, the gray palms continued to attack the stars released by the star domain fragment. Star after star slowly began to crumble under the attack of the grayish palm. The gray palms released by Lan Qingyue also began to crumble gradually. With a single attack, she had broken the seal of all the rank 7 gods. What? The sudden change, the sudden appearance of Lan Qingyue, and the sudden terrifying attack. All the rank 7 gods stiffened as their eyes widened gradually. The rank 7 gods were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. How could this be possible? Beside the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, a rank 7 cosmic beast, and a human who was comparable to the pinnacle pantheon experts had appeared. This? Woo-woo-woo. While they were in a daze, Little Blue followed Wang Xian's command and attacked the rank 7 gods who controlled the 8 starfield fragments. With a sway of its huge body, it arrived before them in an instant. The distance between the two parties was already very close. The 200-odd rank 7 gods that surrounded Wang Xian and the others felt as though the void was collapsing and pressing down on them. A suffocating aura surged. How could this be? One of the rank 7 gods couldn't help but roar. Damn it! Block it! Star Sector Neutron Star. The 8 rank 7 gods who controlled the starfield fragments were also horrified as they channeled their power of faith into the Star Sector fragment. An incomparably large and heavy star flew out from the star domain fragment, heading straight for Xiaolan. Woo-woo. Little Blue let out a low growl and charged towards the neutron star without any fear. Boom. Just like the Big Bang of the universe, the horrifying impact surged towards the surroundings. Cracks appeared on the neutron star, but Little Blue didn't seem to be injured. Wong wong wong. The 200-odd rank 7 gods around them couldn't help but be thrown off by this majestic force. Haitang, big fish. Lan Qingyue swept her gaze across the rank 7 gods around her with a cold look in her eyes. Her body trembled, and around her, a number of grayish fishes condensed from energy appeared, directly attacking the 200-odd rank 7 gods. Chapter 3870. Not good. Damn it. We are no match for them. How did they become so powerful all of a sudden? How did this happen? More than 200 rank 7 gods were sent flying by the shockwaves from the collision between Little Blue and the starfield fragment. In the next instant, they saw the ancient god Kuan Breeder's attack coming towards them. They knew about the ancient god Kuan Breeder. They knew about the Dragon King from the Dragon Palace. They knew everything. They even knew that the ancient god Kuan Breeder's 3 Kuan were equally terrifying. However, they were only comparable to a 6th-order sovereign realm giant star beast. They could still fight or even kill it. But now? Everything was out of their expectations. The ancient god Kuan Breeder and one of his Kuan had suddenly broken through. Was it really that easy to break through? If it was that easy, the 6th-order sovereign star beast that they had subdued with faith power would have been cultivated to the 7th-order sovereign realm. How could it be so easy to break through? Ever since the first 6th-order sovereign Kuan was subdued by some of the palaces in their universe, these palaces had tried to help it break through. However, it was not that easy, especially since both sides had different cultivation systems. Even if they also had some energy that the starry sky behemoths could absorb, they couldn't break through just because they wanted to. It would take at least 100 million years to break through from the 6th order to the 7th order. It was the same for the 9 Origins universe. In the records, there was no record of an expert breaking through from the 6th order to the 7th order in just a few million years. However, the ancient god Kuan Breeder had broken through. This was completely out of their expectations. The 200-plus Tier 7 gods revealed expressions of fear when they sensed the power of a peak god approaching them. This move could kill all of them in an instant. The gap was too big. They were only at the 7th order realm. There was still a huge gap between them and a peak god. Even those with supreme treasures would not be able to withstand it. More than 200 rank 7 gods came from the power of 2 palaces. Each of the palaces had the power of a rank 9 god. Even with 2 rank 9 gods added together, there was still a huge gap between them and a peak god. Save us. Quick. Save us. The 200 rank 7 gods screamed at the 8 rank 7 gods who were controlling the star field fragment. Galaxy protection. When the 8 rank 7 gods saw this, their faces turned ugly. They gritted their teeth and injected a huge amount of energy again. A river of stars appeared in the surroundings and swept towards them. The star river enveloped the 200-odd rank 7 gods. Fly over quickly. The 8 rank 7 gods roared in unison. Boom, boom, boom. The 200 Tier 7 gods immediately flew towards the 8 Tier 7 gods with bloodshot eyes. However, Lan Qingyue's attack landed on the Galaxy Guardian. The attack was also comparable to the attack of a pinnacle pantheon, and the entire galaxy barrier trembled violently. The 200-plus rank 7 gods in the center couldn't help but vomit a mouthful of blood. Hee, none of you will escape today. Wang Xian sneered and looked at Lan Qingyue. Qingyue, you and Xiaolan will suppress those 8 guys. Leave the rest to me, Xiaobai and the rest. All right, Lan Qingyue nodded. In the next second, she appeared on Xiaolan's body. Woo. As for Xiaolan, she charged towards the star field fragment. That terrifying force wasn't afraid of the star field fragment at all. The star field fragment was powerful, but it was only controlled by the rank 7 gods. If it was a higher level god, they could unleash even more power. But they were still too weak. Lan Qingyue stood on Xiaolan's body. With a wave of her arm, the surroundings instantly turned into a gray ocean. Xiaolan was in the gray ocean, which made its aura even more terrifying and vast. Oh no, we are no match for them if they join forces. With the help of the star field fragment, we can only fight against 1 pinnacle galactic beast at most. They are equivalent to 2. Damn it, how did this happen? How can the Dragon Palace be so strong? The 8 rank 7 gods exclaimed in horror. When they saw the invincible Xiaolan and Lan Qingyue, their hearts skipped a beat. But at this moment, they could no longer dodge. They gritted their teeth and started to defend with all their might. Behind them, Wang Xian waved his arm, and the 5 elements grindstone attacked the 200 rank 7 gods. At the same time, the Tai Chi dragon board transformed into a divine light and darkness dragon and flew out from his surroundings to attack them. He stood on the soul warship, held the soul spear in his hand, and threw it out. Swish, swish, swish. 2 soul spears were thrown out one by one. Woo woo. Little Otaku, Xiaobai, and the rest growled and attacked the rank 7 gods on the other side. Back then, Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue could deal with the army of 10 rank 7 gods if they joined forces. But now, they were only dealing with the strength of 2 rank 7 gods. It was a complete suppression. Even the 5 elements grindstone alone was enough to suppress them. Not to mention that they had the strength of 2 to 3 times that of the Tai Chi dragon board. The attack of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace is here. We can't hold them off. The strength of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace is not something we can handle. It's over. It's all over. How did this happen? The rank 7 gods of the 2 rank 7 gods were in despair when they saw Wang Xian charging over. They had never imagined that this would be the result. They had never expected their opponent to be so terrifying. Over 200 rank 7 gods saw Wang Xian, Xiaobai, and the rest. They unleashed their strongest attacks in an attempt to defend themselves. Arg. No. But when the energies collided, they began to crumble. Waves of horrifying 5 elements and yin-yang energy surged into their bodies, whittling away their vitality. Wang Xian stood on the soul warship and rammed it at the rank 7 gods. The soul spears pierced through the bodies of the rank 7 gods with ease. 1 soul spear pierced through a dozen rank 7 gods and killed them instantly. 2 soul spears killed nearly 30 rank 7 gods in an instant. It was a complete instant kill. Similarly, the 5 elements grindstone and the Tai Chi dragon board killed over 100 rank 7 gods instantly. Beside them, Xiaobai and Little Otaku also killed dozens of rank 7 gods in an instant. In an instant, only 30 to 40 rank 7 gods were left out of the original 200. The gap was huge. This was a battle on a completely different level. Chapter 3871. It's over. The remaining 30 to 40 rank 7 gods looked at the terrifying Dragon King and the others with despair on their faces. The strength of the Dragon King and the others was simply too terrifying. Oh no! The 8 rank 7 gods were shocked and horrified when they saw this scene. Over 200 tier 7 gods, the peak forces of the 2 palaces, had actually been annihilated by 80% of Dragon Palace's Dragon King's group. The remaining 30 to 40 rank 7 gods could not escape at all. They could not resist at all. The strength of 2 palaces was not enough to fight against the Dragon King. They knew this very well. The remaining 30 to 40 rank 7 gods would not be able to escape either. This was not what scared them the most. What scared them the most was that the terrifying astral behemoth and the ancient god Kuan breeder had completely suppressed the stellar realm fragment. I'm afraid our faith universe is going to suffer heavy losses this time. One of the rank 7 gods could not help but growl in a low voice. Woo woo woo. You will be the next to die. At this moment, Xiaolan's growl and Lan Qingyue's voice rang in their ears. Around them, the gray ocean was pressing down on them. Planet explosion. The 8 rank 7 gods had ugly expressions as they injected a large amount of faith energy into the stellar realm fragment. Their eyes were bloodshot as they growled. From within the stellar realm fragment, an unstable planet slowly formed, as though it could explode at any time. It could erupt with terrifying power. Kuan devour. Xiao Lan saw the unstable planet and immediately opened its mouth. A Kuan formed from condensed energy opened its horrifying mouth and swallowed the planet. Boom, boom. The planet had just been swallowed when a terrifying explosion occurred within it. However, this explosion only caused the condensed Kuan to dissipate immediately. The gray sea water around them was still rushing towards them. It's over. We can only fight against one. We can't fight against 2. I can't accept this. Seeing this, the 8 rank 7 gods roared in despair and unwillingness. Walala. However, in the next second, waves of seawater rushed over and their voices disappeared. They could not stop it. The star field fragment's power could only block Little Blue at most. With the addition of Lan Qingyue, it would be impossible. Under such circumstances, the weakness of relying on external forces became apparent. 8 rank 7 gods were instantly killed. Not good. The 8 envoys were killed. When the remaining 40 tier 7 gods saw this situation, they despaired. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. However, Wang Xian did not hesitate at all. He flew in front of them and sent streams of energy into their bodies. Instant kill. Another instant kill. This was not a fight against a cataclysm. With a wave of his arm, Wang Xian kept all the corpses with a smile. Xiaoxian, it's settled. Lan Qingyue smiled faintly as she spoke to Wang Xian, and Wang Xian nodded his head and looked at the location of the star region fragment. The star field fragment floated there and didn't fly away like last time. With a move of his body, he immediately flew over, and a palm formed from condensed energy reached out to grab him. Bam! However, this caused the star domain fragment to tremble once more, and it flew directly in a certain direction. When Lan Qingyue saw this, she waved her arm, and a stream of energy intercepted the star domain fragment. Wong wong wong. The energy released by Lan Qingyue had blocked the star domain fragment. The star domain fragment trembled and didn't break free immediately. She can stop it? Wang Xian's eyes lit up when he saw this. Swish. However, in the next second, the star domain fragment broke free from Lan Qingyue's defense and continued flying in another direction. Let's see if we can hold it in place. Wang Xian shouted and immediately went to Xiaolan's body. Woo woo, woo woo. Xiao Lan let out a low growl and immediately gave chase. Lan Qingyue immediately followed by the side and chased after the star domain fragment. Wong wong wong, wong wong wong. However, just as Wang Xian and the rest were chasing the star beast at the giant starry sky city, just as the experts and disciples of all the races were discussing about the Dragon Palace and the Phoenix clan, an anxious voice suddenly sounded. The entire giant starry sky city shook slightly. Everyone instantly realized that there was an enormous shadow of the Radiance Angel floating in the sky above the giant starry sky city. Below it, they could see the shadow of 10 enormous black tortoises emerging. The entire giant starry sky city was instantly activated with a series of terrifying defensive arrays. The entire heaven and earth seemed to have undergone a huge change. What's happening? Everyone was slightly taken aback when they saw this scene. Their faces were filled with shock. The army of the universe of faith is attacking. All experts above the level of Dominator climb the city walls of the giant starry sky city and come to the designated positions of the races. At this time, a voice resounded in everyone's mind. The army of the universe of faith is here. They are really here. Those damn guys. Our entire giant starry sky city has undergone a horrifying change. What's that shadow of the radiance angel in the sky? It looks so horrifying. And the shadow of the black tortoise below. Is this the defense of our giant starry sky city? When the experts and disciples of all the races heard this voice, their faces were filled with astonishment. The existences at the level of Dominator immediately flew towards the city walls. As for the rest of the disciples, they followed closely behind and looked into the distance. Why can't I see anything? The army of the universe of faith is not here yet. Our giant starry sky city naturally discovered their arrival in advance. It's already too late for us to react when we see the giant starry sky city. The group of experts and disciples flew into the sky. When they saw all the experts of the apex races looking in one direction, they also looked in that direction. However, they did not see anything. They're here. The army of the universe of faith is here. I want to see exactly how strong the universe of faith is. At the same time, at the strongest position of the city walls, the experts of the 13 apex races stood in front of the city walls. One by one, the experts of the apex races murmured. In the recent tens of millions of years of war, the Nine Origins cosmos did not have a complete understanding of the strength of the universe of faith. Now that the army of the universe of faith had arrived, even if it was not 100% of its strength, it was at least 90%. This was a good opportunity to find out more. Chapter 3872. In front of the city, all the experts from the various races stared coldly in front of them. Behind them, all the disciples gradually calmed down as they stared at the city in front of them. They were waiting for the arrival of the universe of faith's army. 5 minutes passed. Accompanied by a roar, an incomparably huge army appeared in front of everyone. The huge army was divided into 20 smaller armies. Although they were called small armies, each army had millions of disciples. The first thing that entered their line of sight were 10 incomparably huge cities in the starry sky. A 6th-order sovereign realm star beast was comparable to 10 9th-order sovereigns from the Nine Origins universe. Other than the 10 eye-catching star beasts, there was also an illusory image floating in the center. There were also some images condensed from faith power. Every single one of them contained a tremendous amount of power. Above the giant starry sky city, the expressions of all the experts from the Peak clans changed slightly when they saw this scene. The power of the universe of faith is much stronger than we imagined. I thought they would have 16 or 17 armies at most. I didn't expect them to have 21 armies. The pupils of the experts from the Peak clans shrank slightly as they murmured. Their faces were filled with shock. On the other hand, the expressions of Prime Minister Turtle and the others didn't change. No one knew the power of the universe of faith better than the Dragon Palace. In fact, the universe of faith had sent their strongest force to deal with the Dragon King, a fragment of heaven's origin fortune. This universe of faith is really terrifying. I heard that the forces of the universe of faith are divided into 24 palaces. Do these armies represent the palaces? How can they be so strong? Look at the front of those armies. They either have the strength of a 6th-order sovereign realm star beast, or they have the strength to fight against a 6th-order sovereign realm star beast. Is this the strength of the universe of faith? My God, look at the number of experts in each army that can match our 7th-order sovereigns. There are over 100 of them in each army. How is this possible? Also, there are 70 to 80,000 experts in each army that make me feel suffocated. They should all be existences of the God realm. Aren't they a little too strong? I feel like they are much stronger than our Nine Origins universe. An incomparably shocked voice came from behind. Not many disciples below the 9 Essences Hegemon level were participating in this battle. They had been obediently listening to all kinds of orders, either to retreat here or to leave this place. Most of them had never seen the powerful army of the faith universe. Now that they saw the power of the universe of faith, they were all shocked beyond belief. It seems like the 9 Essences universe's forces at the city walls are only half of the Conviction universe's forces. That's 2 million sovereigns we're talking about. Some of the disciples at the peak of the venerable realm made a comparison, and their faces were filled with shock. The number of Faith Universe Army powerhouses exceeded their expectations. It also surpassed the number of experts from the peak races of the 9 Origins universe. Yes, every small legion has at least 70 to 80,000 soldiers, but what about us? The Dragon Palace only sent a few thousand Sovereign Realm experts, and most of them are below the Third Order Sovereign Realm. It seems the gap between us and the Faith Universe is huge. Everyone felt a sense of pressure as they murmured to themselves, Faith Universe's strength has indeed exceeded our expectations. A 7th Order Sovereign Realm sorcerer from the Sorcerer tribe said with a frown. The experts from the peak races around him nodded their heads silently. A powerful wave of pressure surged over. However, there was no fear on their faces. They were still 100% confident in the giant starry sky city. Ha ha ha, trash from the 9 Origins universe. Are you thinking of relying on this broken city to protect yourselves? At this time, an incomparably arrogant voice came from the opposite side. Although there was a language barrier, everyone could understand what he was saying through the spiritual fluctuations. His words caused the expressions of all the experts and disciples of the 9 essences cosmos to sink. Himph, trash from the Faith Universe. Do you think you can break our giant starry sky city with your strength? Today, none of you will return alive. The great devil of the devil race glared at them and roared in a low voice. Ha ha ha, none of us will return alive? With just a bunch of trash from the 9 Origins universe? Come on out. Let us see how many experts your 9 Origins universe has, and what you have to compete with our Faith Universe. One of the rank 7 gods from the Faith Universe laughed maniacally. The 21 legions of the Faith Universe. They slowly arrived in front of the giant starry sky city. They stopped in the void and swept their gazes across the experts and disciples on the giant starry sky city. Their faces were filled with mockery and disdain. In a moment, you will know what we have to compete with you. An old man with the aura of a scholar from the sage bloodline replied coldly with a fan in his hand. Ha ha, at a glance, the 9 Origins universe only has this many experts? What trash. I think all of you are turtles hiding in your shells. Do you have the guts to come out and fight with us? One of the rank 7 gods sneered. I heard that this giant starry sky city was built by the 9 Origins universe using a large amount of treasures to protect their lives. Haha, they only dare to hide in here. How could they dare to come out and fight with our Faith Universe? From what I can tell, the 9 Essences universe can't even compare to our Faith Universe. If the true cataclysm comes, all of the living beings in this tiny 9 Essences universe will become our believers. They'll prostrate themselves at our feet and sing praises of our greatness. That's right. I thought the 9 Origins universe was strong. Now that I look at it, what trash. The rank 7 gods from the 24 palaces sized up the giant starry sky city and sneered. Their faces were filled with arrogance and disdain. Their arrogant words spread throughout the giant starry sky city, causing all the experts and disciples of the 9 Origins universe to have ugly expressions. However, there was nothing they could do to retort. Without relying on the giant starry sky city, they were indeed no match for the Faith Universe's army. Their strength made the experts and disciples of the 9 Origins universe feel invincible. Without the giant starry sky city, they would most likely have to flee. Chapter 3873. These damn fellows are too arrogant. That's right. Those trash from the Faith Universe are too arrogant. Sooner or later, we will make them pay a terrible price. All the experts and disciples from the 9 Origins universe had ugly expressions on their faces when they heard their arrogant provocation. But there was nothing they could do. They didn't even have the confidence to retort. Prime Minister Turtle and the others raised their brows when they heard the words of the Faith Universe's gods. Faith Universe's gods, don't be too arrogant. Prime Minister Turtle's eyes flickered as he said indifferently, Ha ha ha, arrogant. What can you do to us if we are arrogant? If you have the guts, come out and fight with us. Ha ha ha, are you afraid? Don't worry, even if you stay in this city, we will slaughter all of you. One of the rank 7 gods snorted disdainfully when he heard Prime Minister Turtle's words. You guys are very strong, but it's still not enough to break through the defenses of the Starry Sky City. It's hard to say who will win this battle. Prime Minister Turtle replied indifferently. Who do you think you are? You are equivalent to us rank 3 gods, and you still dare to talk to us? Is your 9 Origins universe so trash that you need a rank 3 god to speak? Ha ha ha. In the Faith Universe's army, a Tier 7 god glared at Prime Minister Turtle and said disdainfully. He then looked at the experts and disciples of the 13 Apex races and said, I've heard that the 9 Origins universe isn't weak, but it seems like it's nothing much. When the cataclysm arrives, you guys will be the first to be destroyed. Haha, I indeed don't have the qualifications to talk to you, but my Dragon Palace does. Prime Minister Turtle stared at them and replied plainly, Your Dragon Palace is still too weak. You should be the first to make a fool of yourself. Just as Prime Minister Turtle finished his sentence, a 7th Order Sovereign Realm expert from the Phoenix clan suddenly spoke up. Haha. Some of the experts from the Angel clan also sneered and glanced at Prime Minister Turtle and the others. Although the Phoenix clan's experts' words weren't loud, and the Faith Universe's experts couldn't hear them from the front, the 9 Origins Universe's disciples heard them loud and clear. They looked at the Dragon Palace with twinkling eyes. It does seem like, Dragon Palace? You are the subordinates of Dragon Palace's Dragon King? The forces of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King. I'll let you suffer a fate worse than death when I break through your city. However, just as the eyes of the experts and disciples of the 9 Essences universe were flickering with different thoughts, a cold roar came from up ahead. Hee hee, yes. Hearing their words, Prime Minister Turtle chuckled. What's going on? I don't know. What's going on? Those people who believe in the universe seem to hate the Dragon King very much. This sudden scene caused all the experts and disciples of the 9 Essences cosmos to be slightly shocked. Dragon Palace, you are the subordinates of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Your Dragon King has been trapped by our Faith Universe for more than 30 million years. Do you think he can escape and survive? If the Dragon King of Dragon Palace dies, all the disciples of Dragon Palace will die too. A Tier 7 god from one of the 21st Legion's headquarters said with a look of extreme hatred. He was an expert from the Heavenly Imperial Palace, and he had a relative who had been killed by Wang Xian. Hee hee, your Faith Universe has gathered half of its forces and still failed to destroy our Dragon King after tens of millions of years. Don't even think about destroying us in the future. On the contrary, your Faith Universe will be destroyed one by our Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle said plainly. Do you think your Dragon King can escape this time? Our Faith Cosmos has used the Heaven Origin Fortune Treasure Fragment. Do you think your Dragon King can withstand it? Don't worry, we'll wipe you out. Next, we'll pay a visit to your Dragon King and take his head. Not far from the Heavenly Imperial Palace Legion, the experts from the Order Palace said with murderous intent. Hee hee. Prime Minister Turtle chuckled coldly. Who doesn't know how to brag? Heaven Yuan Palace is a good example. What the fuck? What's going on? The Dragon King of Dragon Palace has been trapped for more than 30 million years? The Dragon King of Dragon Palace has mobilized half of the forces of the entire Faith Universe to resist him, and even used the Heaven Yuan Fortune Treasure Fragment. Oh my god, what has the Dragon King of Dragon Palace done? That can't be, right? This is a conversation between Prime Minister Turtle and the celestial beings of the Faith Universe. This is too terrifying. The Faith Universe has mobilized half of its forces to resist the Dragon King, and now the Dragon King has been trapped for more than 30 million years. Even with the Heaven Yuan Fortune Treasure Fragment, they still can't defeat the Dragon King? What has the Dragon King done? What's the lesson from the mistakes of Heaven Yuan Palace? At this moment, the experts and disciples of all the races in the 9-source universe widened their eyes in disbelief and horror. What did they hear? What did the Dragon King of Dragon Palace do when all the experts and disciples were unaware? How could he infuriate the entire Faith Universe? They were even gritting their teeth. What was the lesson from the mistakes of Heaven Yuan Palace? On the city wall, the experts of the various races were also looking at Prime Minister Turtle, their expressions changing constantly. The Dragon King of Dragon Palace is very strong. Without him, our faith universe would have wiped out all the trash in your nine-source universe tens of millions of years ago. However, it's not too late to wipe them out now. Before the cataclysm, we will descend upon your nine-source universe and wipe out your Dragon Palace. In the center of the faith universe's army, a rank 7 god said with a sinister expression. Hearing this, all the experts and disciples of the nine-source universe were shocked again. Without the Dragon King, they would have been wiped out tens of millions of years ago. The reason they were not wiped out and chased out of the starry universe was because of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. However, when they looked at the powerful army and strength of the faith universe, they felt that the possibility was very high. At least back then, their nine-source universe did not have such a powerful starry city. In that case, the reason they could fight with the faith universe for tens of millions of years was because the Dragon King of Dragon Palace had restrained half of the forces of the faith universe? Was that why they could resist the faith universe for so long? Thinking of this, everyone could not help but gasp, and their faces were filled with shock. The Dragon Palace was completely different from what they had imagined. Chapter 3874. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. In front of the city wall, all the powerhouses of the peak races stared at Prime Minister Turtle. Shock was written all over their faces. Prime Minister Turtle, has the Dragon King been fighting the Faith Universe's army? A great elf from the fairy race couldn't help but ask Prime Minister Turtle. Yes, 30 to 40 million years ago, our Dragon Palace entered the Faith Universe's territory. Prime Minister Turtle turned his head and nodded with a smile. There are 24 palaces in the universe of faith, each with an army. Each army has 7 or 8 pantheon experts. Each palace has a powerful trump card. Right now, experts from 2 palaces are using the Heaven Origin Fortune shard to trap our Dragon King in an area. As for the primordial Heaven Palace army, they have been wiped out by the Dragon King. As Prime Minister Turtle spoke, the experts from the peak races were even more shocked. At present, there are still 2 legions that can restrain the Dragon King with the help of the fragment of a treasure, like the Fortune of Heaven's Origin. That was the Heaven Origin Fortune. A treasure of this level was simply equivalent to an invincible existence. It was equivalent to a Heaven Origin Fortune expert. Even if it was just a fragment, it was still a terrifying existence. It could at least unleash the destructive power of a peak sovereign realm expert, right? 2 legions and such treasures had merely trapped the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace in one place for over 30 million years without killing him. How terrifying was the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace and the rest? How much had the Dragon Palace done for the Nine Sources universe in the past tens of millions of years? If the Faith universe really possessed such terrifying power, the peak races of the Nine Sources universe wouldn't be a match for the 24 palaces and 24 armies. In fact, the gap was huge. I didn't expect the Dragon King to have done so much. The Great Fairy of the Fairy Clan sighed slightly. She looked around and said, "It seems that some races have wrongly blamed the Dragon Palace. Without the Dragon Palace, it's hard to say whether our Nine Origins universe could have established itself in the Starry Sky universe." His words made some of the experts from the top clans around him nod silently. It turns out that we have wrongly blamed the Dragon King. The Dragon King has contributed more to the Nine Sources universe than all the other peak races combined. Isn't that right? For the past tens of millions of years, the Dragon King has actually gone up against half of the Faith universe's forces. How terrifying. The Dragon Palace has indeed contributed more to the Nine Origins universe than the other peak races. The Dragon Palace is the true hero behind the scenes. We actually blamed them not too long ago. At the back, the disciples of all the races whispered to each other. Some disciples looked at the Phoenix race and the Angel race with flickering eyes. At this moment, all the experts and disciples of the Phoenix clan looked extremely embarrassed. After all, they had just launched an attack on the Dragon Palace not long ago. They had even openly provoked the Dragon Palace, saying through the communication stone plate that the Dragon Palace had not made any contributions to the Nine Origins universe, and that they were not worthy of being one of the top races in the Faith universe. But now, This was simply a slap in the face. Most importantly, the strength of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King had exceeded the expectations of the Phoenix clan. Putting everything else aside, the strength of the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace and the others was not something that the Phoenix clan could fight against. Now that they had provoked the Dragon Palace and even killed more than a dozen experts of the Dragon Palace, what if the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace came back for revenge? On the Angel clan side, all the experts and disciples frowned. Their complexions were similarly ugly. Attack. Don't waste your breath with them. Kill all the people from the Nine Origins universe first, then go and kill the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. At this moment, the cold voices of the Faith Universe's gods came from the front. Boom, boom, boom. In the next second, waves of extremely terrifying energy spread out from their bodies. More than 20 million worshippers from the cosmos unleashed a terrifying aura. The weather changed, the sky changed color, and the stars changed color. The immense faith power caused serious expressions to appear on the faces of all of the experts and disciples in the Nine Essences cosmos. The experts of the Faith Universe were too strong. The power of the Faith Universe is indeed not something we can fight against. An expert from the fairy race muttered. Some of the experts around nodded in agreement. I really wonder how the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace is going to deal with half of the Faith Universe's power. A disciple muttered in the back. This was the might of the 21 legions of the Faith Universe. Without the protection of the Starry Sky City, just this boundless might alone would be enough to instantly kill them. Prepare the array formation to defend. Ready. Buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz. At this moment, all the experts of the witch race shouted and activated the array formation. Buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz. However, just as all the experts and disciples of the Nine Origins universe thought that war was about to break out, just as the experts of the Faith Universe were about to make their move, suddenly, all the rank 7 gods received a message. All of them received a message. The sudden emergency message stunned all the rank 7 gods of the Faith Universe. Without hesitation, they immediately opened their communication devices. Because this news was an urgent message from the elders in the palace. Even if war was about to break out, they had to investigate. However, when they opened the message and saw the contents, their eyes widened in disbelief. This is impossible. How is this possible? How is this possible? Immediately, the rank 7 gods roared in shock. They had received an order to retreat, and there was naturally a reason for this order. All the experts who had gone after the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had been killed, all by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace and the ancient god Kuin Breeder. The ancient god Kuin Breeder and a Kuin were already comparable to the pinnacle gods of the Faith Universe. Now, their palace elder had ordered them to retreat, and all the legions were to disperse to prevent the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace from attacking. Looking at the order to disperse and escape, and not be discovered by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, all the rank 7 gods had ugly expressions on their faces. They had just told the experts of the Nine Origins universe that they would destroy the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. But now, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had destroyed the experts of the Faith Universe. However, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace already had a pinnacle existence among the gods. It was no longer something they could resist. Once they were discovered by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, they would suffer heavy losses. If the 21 gods of the Dragon Palace were to die here, the Faith Universe would not be able to bear such a loss. Chapter 3875. Retreat. Retreat immediately. All disciples of Faith Universe, retreat. In front of the cosmic city, the terrifying army of Faith Universe exuded an aura that shook the heavens. The sky changed color, and the stars changed color. In the starry sky giant city, all the experts and disciples had solemn expressions on their faces. Even though they knew that the cosmic city was extremely powerful, they did not feel 100% confident when they saw the terrifying army of Faith Universe. What if Faith Universe brought out an even greater trump card? However, just as all the experts and disciples of the Nine Essences universe thought that a war was about to break out, all the rank 7 gods of Faith universe suddenly roared. They actually gave the order to retreat. All the experts and disciples of the 9 essences universe were slightly taken aback when they heard this order, their faces filled with astonishment. What was going on? On purpose? Or, what's going on? Don't know? Is this part of their plan? Some experts of the apex races could not help but growl. What? Sir, why are we suddenly retreating? What's going on? It wasn't just the experts and disciples of the 9 essences universe who were stunned. Even the gods and their followers who worshipped in the universe who were below the rank of 7 were stunned. What was going on? Their aura was already rising. So why were they suddenly retreating? Some of the rank 6 gods could not help but ask. Something has happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Retreat immediately. One of the rank 7 gods replied before issuing another order. Something has happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace? When all the gods and believers of the universe heard this, their bodies trembled violently. Something had happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace? What did this mean? This meant that the experts chasing after the Dragon King of Dragon Palace had been annihilated by the Dragon King. In order to deal with the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, Faith Universe had used the fragment of the Heavenly Origin Fortune Treasure. This represented the strongest combat power of Faith Universe. Yet, something had still happened. This also meant that the strength of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace was not something that Faith Universe could contend against. This meant that the Dragon Palace could slaughter the cosmos that they believed in and their armies. How is this possible? Some of the rank 6 gods could not help but growl. Their auras started to rapidly decline. Let's go. At this moment, the rank 7 gods roared and immediately turned to leave. They were even more aware of the severity of the situation. The ancient god Kuan breeder of the Dragon Palace was comparable to a peak deity. Moreover, there were 2 of them at this level. If they came to hunt them down, even if all the legions of the 21 palaces joined forces, they would not be a match for them. One must know that the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace was extremely powerful. If they were intercepted by the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, it would be a miracle if 1,000,000 of their 21 armies could survive. Now, before the Dragon King of Dragon Palace could react, they had to escape first. Moreover, they had to escape in different directions. Next, a scene that left all the experts and disciples of the 9 essences cosmos shocked appeared. The 21 armies of the Faith Universe, more than 20 million gods and believers, quickly flew into the distance. No, it wasn't flying away, it was more like escaping. Their faces were filled with anxiety. They received orders from the experts above, otherwise they wouldn't have retreated. A 7th Order Sovereign Realm expert, standing in front of the city walls, couldn't help but ask. I think I heard one of the 7th Order Sovereigns say that something happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. On the Tiger God tribe side, a 7th Order Sovereign Realm Wind Tiger God opened its mouth and spoke. This was something he had vaguely heard. Yes, something happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Something happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, forcing the entire Faith Universe's army to retreat. What happened? What did the Dragon King do to the Faith Universe? On the Elf race's side, a 7th Order Sovereign Realm Great Elf nodded in agreement. Not only did the Tiger God tribe experts hear it, but other 7th Order Sovereigns also heard it. As they spoke, their faces were filled with shock. Something happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. In the end, the terrifying 21 armies of the Faith Universe, more than 20 million gods and believers, fled. How terrifying was this? What did the Dragon King of Dragon Palace do this time? The few 7th Order Sovereigns did not bother to conceal their words, and all the disciples behind them heard them loud and clear. They looked at the disappearing figures of the Faith Universe's army and watched them flee, and all of them swallowed a mouthful of saliva. After a few seconds of silence, an uproar broke out. Oh my God! What did the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace do to actually make the Faith Universe army flee? This is unbelievable. Something happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, and they immediately fled. What did the Dragon King do? An expert from the Faith Universe used a fragment of Heaven's Origin Fortune to trap the Dragon King. Could he have been killed by the Dragon King? That's very possible. The Dragon King must have displayed some terrifying strength. Otherwise, they wouldn't have fled. Hiss, how strong is the Dragon King and his army? Incomparably shocked discussions broke out. Everyone's face was filled with shock, and some of the experts and disciples revealed expressions of awe and worship. The terrifying war that was about to erupt had actually ended because of the Dragon King. The Faith Universe's army, which was even stronger than their Nine Origins universe, had actually fled. This was unbelievable. This caused them to feel awe and respect towards the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Is this the Dragon King of Dragon Palace? Using his own strength to fight against the entire Faith Universe. How terrifying. How is this possible? The Phoenix race and Angel race were dumbfounded. Just because something happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, the Faith Universe's army had fled. This scene made them feel extremely absurd. A single Dragon King had actually scared the entire Faith Universe's army into fleeing. Then, how terrifying was the Dragon King and his army? The Phoenix race's experts and disciples were dumbfounded. They had just provoked the Dragon Palace, and now something like this happened? The stronger the Dragon Palace was, the worse the news was for them. They even hoped that a war would break out. They hoped that the Dragon King of Dragon Palace would be killed by the Faith Universe's experts. But now? The current Dragon King of Dragon Palace was extremely terrifying, and it seemed like the Phoenix race couldn't contend against him. At least in the universe, they couldn't compare to the Dragon Palace. Chapter 3876. Hee hee. When Prime Minister Turtle saw this scene and heard the exclamations around him, his face lit up with excitement. Over the past few days, all the experts and disciples of the Dragon Palace had seen all the information from the communication stone plate. However, without Wang Xian's order, Prime Minister Turtle did not make any response. He had revealed some information just now to let all the pinnacle races know how much the Dragon Palace had sacrificed in the war between the Nine-Source Universe and the Faith Universe. Now, he saw the army of the Faith Universe fleeing because of the Dragon King. He was all smiles. Prime Minister Turtle had a clear understanding of Wang Xian's situation. He also knew that their Dragon King had made a breakthrough. Their ancient god Dragon Queen, the Kuan breeder, had also made a breakthrough. The Dragon Queen had made a breakthrough, and all the gods surrounding the Dragon King had been killed. The news of the Dragon Queen's breakthrough had also reached the Faith Universe. Therefore, the experts of the Faith Universe were a little afraid. The army of the Faith Universe retreated immediately. Prime Minister Turtle, do you know something? What the hell is going on? A skeleton king from the skeleton clan could not help but ask when he heard Prime Minister Turtle's laughter. Now, he was really too curious. He was curious about what had happened to the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. What kind of situation could force the army of the Faith Universe to retreat directly? Upon hearing the words of the skeleton clan, the rest of the experts from the pinnacle races all turned to Prime Minister Turtle. I know the exact situation, but I guess our Dragon King has escaped the blockade of the Faith Universe. Prime Minister Turtle replied with a smile. All the experts from the pinnacle races twitched their mouths when they heard his words. Was it as simple as the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace escaping the blockade of the experts from the Faith Universe? Escaping the blockade and causing the army of the Faith Universe to be so terrified and flee? Who would believe that? However, there is one thing that the Dragon Palace would like to clarify today. A few days ago, a dozen of our disciples were killed. Our Dragon King also knew about this, but the Dragon Palace did not make any statement. Prime Minister Turtle suddenly changed his tone as he swept his gaze across the pinnacle races and the experts and disciples of all the races. In the end, it landed in the hands of the Phoenix clan. First, according to the Phoenix clan, our Dragon Palace disciples robbed their treasures, so their experts besieged and killed them. Now, our Dragon Palace is ready to pay a high price to resurrect more than a dozen of our disciples. After resurrection, our Dragon Palace will find out the truth of the matter. If it is really our Dragon Palace disciples who made a mistake first, our Dragon Palace will admit it. If it's not our Dragon Palace's fault, as an old official, I have no idea how our Dragon King will handle this matter. Prime Minister Turtle smiled faintly at the end of his sentence. As for how the Dragon King would deal with it, Everyone in the Nine Origins universe knew how the Dragon King did things. He had led the Dragon Palace all the way here. No matter what advanced race you are, kill. I don't care if you have the backing of a peak race behind you. Kill. I don't care if you're the invincible domain's invincible. Kill. I don't care if you are a peak race expert. I will kill you. Over the past tens of millions of years, the experts and disciples of the Nine Origins universe had come to understand the Dragon Palace's style of doing things. In the past tens of millions of years, the Dragon Palace had not provoked any forces and had even suppressed other high-level clans. The Dragon Palace's style was that they would not provoke others if they didn't provoke them. However, if someone provoked the Dragon Palace, given the Dragon King's style, the culprit would definitely pay a terrible price. Prime Minister Turtle did not finish his sentence, but everyone knew what the consequences would be. When the experts and disciples of the Phoenix clan heard Prime Minister Turtle's words, their faces turned extremely ugly. Their faces were all gloomy, especially those experts of the Phoenix clan who knew the truth. Their faces were even uglier. This Dragon Palace's declaration is so domineering. I wonder what the truth is this time. I don't know. In any case, the Dragon Palace's current strength is definitely not afraid of any peak race. If there is really a force deliberately provoking us, they will have to pay a terrible price this time. I'm now a die-hard fan of the Dragon King and will support whatever the Dragon King does. At the back, some experts and disciples of the high-level races couldn't help but whisper among themselves. They didn't dare to say it out loud because the Phoenix clan was also there. However, many experts and disciples' gazes were focused on the Phoenix clan. Moreover, their gazes were a little strange. In short, do your best. No one can bully our Dragon Palace. Prime Minister Turtle added indifferently. He cupped his hands at the rest of the peak races and left immediately. The experts of the other peak races exchanged a look and swept their gazes towards the Phoenix clan. From the expressions of some experts of the Phoenix clan, they could guess the truth of the matter. This time, it was probably the Phoenix clan who provoked them first. We don't have to worry. Even if the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace is very strong, he will at most have the strength of a peak sovereign realm. Our Phoenix clan has already contacted a giant space beast race in the starry sky cosmos. With their help, we will be fine. The Seventh Order Sovereign Phoenix transmitted a message to the clansman beside him with an ugly expression on his face. When the clansmen heard this, their expressions relaxed a little. That's right. We don't have to worry. As long as the expert from the giant space beast race comes, we won't be afraid of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King. One of the Seventh Order Sovereign Realm Water Phoenixes nodded its head heavily. They firmly believed. This was their only hope. After all, the might displayed by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace this time had completely frightened them. Even the entire Faith Cosmos feared the Dragon King. What was the Phoenix clan to them? Wang Xian was unaware of the situation in the Starry Sky City. He also didn't know that even though he didn't come, he had put on an act. He had become the hero in the hearts of all the experts and disciples in the Nine-Source Cosmos. At this moment, he was standing on Xiao Lan's body, chasing after the stellar domain fragment in a frenzy. That was a heavenly Yuan creation-grade treasure. He wanted to get his hands on it. Even if the chances were slim, he wanted to fight for it with all his might. Buzz, buzz. Xiao Lan and Lan Qingyue's powers wrapped around the stellar domain fragment. However, even though Xiao Lan and Lan Qingyue were strong, the stellar domain fragment's ability to break free was also terrifying. Are you confident? Wang Xian asked Lan Qingyue as he looked at the stellar domain fragment that was struggling to break free. No confidence. Lan Qingyue replied with a solemn expression. It's highly possible that a heavenly Yuan creation grade expert has placed a restriction on it to prevent it from being lost. Wang Xian was indignant. Chapter 3877. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The star field fragment continued to fly forward, breaking free from the obstructing energy. Lan Qingyue and Xiao Lan couldn't do anything about this star field fragment. Moreover, the speed of the star field fragment was getting faster and faster. It wouldn't be long before the distance between them and the star field fragment widened. Wang Xian felt helpless as well. It seemed like he wouldn't be able to get his hands on this star field fragment. Lan Qingyue also shook her head helplessly. This might require an even stronger force to be able to intercept it. Forget it. Wang Xian shook his head and said to Lan Qingyue, "Roar, roar, roar." However, just as he finished his sentence, a wave of horrifying energy shrouded them. Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue had a drastic change of expression when they sensed the terrifying and vast energy. The boundless energy gave them a domineering and invincible feeling. Although this energy wasn't targeted at Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue, the two of them felt like they were in a horrifying ocean. They were like a small ship in the ocean. As long as a wave hit them, they would be smashed into pieces. Oh no, Xiao Xian. A horrifying existence is flying towards us. Lan Qingyue looked towards the depths of the infinite starry sky and said to Wang Xian in horror, "Yes, let's get away from here." Wang Xian replied immediately. Below him, Xiao Lan and the rest immediately flew in the opposite direction without any orders. Swoosh! But at this moment, an explosion came from the front. In the next second, Wang Xian, Lan Qingyue, and the rest saw a figure appearing out of thin air in front of them. He appeared in front of the star field fragment. His huge body covered the entire starry sky. He had an oval body, which was similar to Xiao Lan and the rest. The only difference was that there were two gigantic tentacles in front of him. There was also a glowing ball on the tentacles. The entire star beast exuded an invincible aura of a king. Wang Xian's eyes narrowed when he saw the star beast appearing out of thin air. "Master, Dragon King. It's the Chaos Star Beast, the powerful Wonton." At this moment, Xiao Lan's voice was heard. "Chaos?" Wang Xian and the rest were slightly shocked. Chaos, the Chaos Star Beast. The elite star beast that lived in the Nine-Source universe. Back then, he had been the one who had opened the passageway between the Nine Essences universe and the Starry Sky universe. It was the absolute overlord of the Nine Essences universe. He was definitely a peak-level sovereign. Tens of millions of years had passed, and the suppression of the Starry Sky universe should have been removed by now. In other words, his current strength was extremely terrifying. To the astonishment of Wang Xian and the rest, after Hundun appeared, the two glowing spheres above his head shot out a beam of light. The light shrouded the stellar domain fragment. What is he doing? They're trying to get that fragment. When Wang Xian and the rest saw it, they were shocked. One of the most powerful astral beasts in the Nine Essences universe, one of the most powerful astral beasts in the Starry Sky universe, had come here. Moreover, it was attacking the star domain fragment. His target is the star domain fragment. A treasure of this level is enough to attract star behemoths of this level. Lan Qingyue murmured, "Come, let's leave this place." Wang Xian ordered Xiao Lan immediately after taking a look. An existence of this level was not something they could afford to provoke. Without the suppression of the Starry Sky cosmos, peak-level sovereigns could easily kill them. They were not on the same level at all. After all, Xiao Lan and Lan Qingyue were only at the 7th-order sovereign realm. The gap was too big. Such an existence was also the most powerful in the Starry Sky universe, especially when they were more intelligent than the native astral beasts. Xiao Lan did not hesitate and fled immediately. Oh, however, when Wang Xian and the rest fled, the star beast suddenly looked in their direction. He did not do anything, but looked at the location of the star domain fragment with a gleam in his eyes. The fragment of the star domain was enveloped by his energy and completely restrained. It could not break free from the powerful force of the star domain fragment. It even flew towards Hundun, a fragment of the heavenly Yuan fortune level. "This is a good treasure," he mumbled to himself. Without making any movements, he suddenly turned towards the direction where Wang Xian and the rest had disappeared. "It seems to be the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. He has great potential," Hundun murmured. Although he was a star beast, he was different from the ones in the Starry Sky universe. His intelligence was the same as the creatures in the Nine Essences universe. In fact, in the Nine Essences universe, these top-notch star beasts also used the AI. He understood the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. The main reason was that the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace was too famous. He even knew some of his deeds in the starry sky universe. Wang. He pondered for a moment before disappearing in the next instant. I don't think he came after us. I wonder if he got the star domain fragment. Lan Xingyue took a glance behind and said as Xiao Lan flew forward at high speed. He should be able to get it. Wang Xian guessed. Just now, they could already put up some resistance against the star domain fragment. With the strength of a pinnacle sovereign realm expert, he should be able to stop the star domain fragment. Master, that lord is here. At this time, Xiao Lan suddenly said. Lan Xingyue's eyes narrowed, and Wang Xian's expression changed slightly. He doesn't seem to have any ill intentions. But soon, Wang Xian opened his mouth and said. In front of them, the figure of Hun Dun gradually appeared. His aura was not that terrifying. He floated in the void ahead and sized up Wang Xian and the rest. Greetings, Senior Hun Dun. What can I do for you? When Wang Xian saw him, he immediately bowed and cupped his hands. Greetings, Senior Hun Dun. Lan Xingyue, Xiao Lan and the rest greeted him. Hee, nice to meet you, Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Hun Dun smiled and replied to Wang Xian. Upon hearing this, Wang Xian heaved a sigh of relief. If such an existence wanted to kill him, it would be too easy. What can I do for you, Senior Hun? If the Dragon Palace can do it, we will definitely not reject you. Wang Xian spoke again. I heard that the Dragon Palace has a treasure, and we would like to make a deal with you, Dragon King. Wang Xian was shocked by Hun Dun's words. A deal? A pinnacle sovereign realm expert, a top-notch existence among the starry sky beasts of the nine-source universe, wanted to make a deal with the Dragon Palace? I wonder what Senior Hun Dun wants to trade. Compared to the Dragon Palace, I believe the other pinnacle races have more treasures to trade with you, right? Wang Xian said with some doubts. Chapter 3878. He had not expected the chaotic galactic beast to make a deal with Wang Xian. The most powerful of the nine essences universe's star behemoth kings were Primal Chaos, Philian, Banyan, Bian, Shuhao, and a few others. They could be said to be the kings of the giant star beasts. He was the leader of the starry sky beasts in the nine essences universe. He was surprised that someone of this level wanted to trade with him. Given their current strength, even if they were to trade with the other 12 peak-level races of the nine essences universe, the other 12 peak-level races wouldn't refuse. In fact, they would welcome them with open arms. The other peak clans definitely had more treasures than the Dragon Palace. The items that I want to trade are not available to other peak clans, but your Dragon Palace does. Hun Dun said. Oh, what kind of item was it? Wang Xian was taken aback as he revealed a puzzled look. At the same time, he was vigilant. The Dragon Palace had treasures that other peak clans didn't. Only items related to the progenitor tree were available. I'll be straightforward. Regarding resurrection items, the other peak clans do have such items, but it's difficult to trade them. Even if they do, they'll have to pay a huge price. Most importantly, they can't trade too many of them. Your Dragon Palace has sold resurrection treasures before, so you must have a lot of them. Hun Dun looked at Wang Xian and said with flickering eyes. This was the main reason he came to look for Wang Xian. Treasures that could bring people back to life were extremely precious even for existences of their level. They had such treasures, but they had to give some to their subordinates. After all, this thing was equivalent to a life. They do, and they want to prepare for their children. Back in the Nine Essences universe, the starry sky behemoths had lived in the mountains and seas, and such treasures had not been common. The other peak-level races also had treasured lands where they could be resurrected. However, resurrection treasures were considered priceless treasures even among the apex races. Out of 10 seventh-order sovereigns, one would be lucky to have such a treasure. As for those with lower levels, death was death, unless he had some sort of fortuitous encounter. If the Primal Chaos made a deal with the other peak races, the other peak races might not agree. Resurrection treasure? Upon hearing his words, Wang Xian's eyes flickered. Speaking of resurrection treasures, the Dragon Palace simply couldn't ask for more. Now that tens of millions of years had passed, there were already hundreds of thousands of soul returning with embryo fruits. However, Wang Xian could not say that the Dragon Palace had so many of such treasures. If word of this got out, perhaps all the Peak clans would be tempted. Even in the previous auction, Wang Xian had only auctioned a few of them. Senior Primal Chaos, we do have treasures of this level, but they are also extremely precious in our Dragon Palace. Wang Xian continued, moreover, we don't have many of them. Can we trade? Hundun looked at Wang Xian and asked. Upon hearing him, Wang Xian pondered for a moment. Of course, he was in deep thought on purpose. If he casually said that he could trade, then he might not be able to trade for any treasures. Therefore, he had to consider how to maximize the benefits. Our Dragon Palace's resources are still quite weak. Although we're very strong in the Starry Sky cosmos, we're very weak in the Nine Essences cosmos. Our Dragon Palace can do Senior Primordial Chaos a favor. If you have any suitable treasures, we can trade them with you, said Wang Xian. What treasure does your Dragon Palace want? I can give you the treasures you want according to the treasures you want. The Chaotic Star Behemoth said, looking at him. What do I want? Wang Xian's eyes lit up and he asked, Senior Primordial Chaos, I wonder if you've obtained the Stellar Zone Fragment and can erase the energy on it? Heavenly Yuan Creation Level Fragment? The Chaotic Star Behemoth looked at Wang Xian and continued, I'm sure you know about this level of treasure, Dragon King. Even for people of our level, it's an extremely powerful and precious treasure. I know. Therefore, Senior Primordial Chaos, you should know about 1,000 soul return fetal fruits, which can resurrect people in our Dragon Palace. Can we trade for them? Asked Wang Xian. His heart was filled with anticipation. 1,000 soul returning fetus fruits were nothing to the Dragon Palace. 1,000? However, when the Chaotic Star Behemoth heard this number, it raised its voice and revealed a surprised look. Following that, a pensive look appeared on his face. Yes, 1,000. I also know how precious the Stellar Zone Fragment is. Therefore, I'm willing to trade 1,000 of them. Wang Xian nodded. Hee. It seems like the Dragon Palace has many resurrection treasures. The giant beast of Chaotic Starry Sky smiled and said, However, the value of 1,000 resurrection fruits is indeed very high. However, compared with the Starfield Fragment, it is still not enough. I can give you a Beast King's token. With this token, any giant beast of Chaotic Starry Sky is forbidden from attacking your Dragon Palace experts and disciples. Other than that, 1,000 sixth-order sovereign realm space beast corpses and a treasure that's second only to the peak races like yours. This treasure is of the lightning attribute, and it's 80% complete. Other than that, I can provide you with a shelter. If you encounter any danger in the universe or anywhere else, you can come to us. Of course, there's a prerequisite. You can't provoke the Heavenly Yuan Creation Galactic Beast of the Starry Universe. How about I trade for 3,000 soul return fetal fruits with these conditions and the Stellar Zone Fragment? The Chaotic Star Behemoth made a condition. Wang Xian was a little excited when he heard this condition. Regardless of anything else, he would agree to trade for the Stellar Zone Fragment with just 3,000 soul return fetal fruits. Not to mention the other benefits. 1,000 galactic beast corpses were of great use. The Beast King token was also of great use. As for the protection promised by the Chaotic Star Behemoth, it might be of use as well. In short, this condition was totally acceptable. Senior Chaotic, I'd like to discuss a plan with my subordinates. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment before taking out the communication card and putting on a show. The Chaotic Star Behemoth nodded and waited quietly. We can trade, but our Dragon Palace only has over 2,730 soul return fetal fruits. As for the other 200, we need to pay for them within 100 million years. The Dragon Palace doesn't have that many at the moment. However, Senior Chaotic, could you help me clear the energy restriction on the Stellar Zone Fragment that worships the universe experts? After a few minutes, Wang Xian spoke to the Chaotic Star Behemoth. 200 over fruits within 100 million years? That's not a problem. Great. The Chaotic Star Behemoth smiled and nodded with satisfaction. There's no problem with the restriction on the Stellar Zone Fragment either. Chapter 3879. The Chaotic Astral Beast's eyes sparkled. Clearly, he was very satisfied with this deal. 3,000 soul return fetal fruits that could resurrect people. This was definitely a rare treasure for the astral beasts. Moreover, the chaotic astral beast had never expected such a large number of fruits. Although he had paid the price of the Heaven Yuan creation starfield fragment, but he had just obtained this starfield fragment. In other words, he had only paid a small price in exchange for so many soul return fruits. This was totally worth it. He had made a huge profit. Not even the other pinnacle races could produce such a large number of soul return fruits. Seeing that the chaotic astral beast had agreed, Wang Xian suppressed the excitement in his heart. 3,000 soul return fetal fruits in exchange for so many treasures and starfield fragment. To Wang Xian and the Dragon Palace, this was a huge profit. There were hundreds of thousands of fruits in the Dragon Palace. The reason why he said that he would give the other 200 fruits to the chaotic astral beast within 100 million years was also a facade. Although there were trees in the Dragon Palace that could produce soul return fruits, it would take 100 million years to produce more than 200 fruits. This made it more precious. To prevent the chaotic astral beast from thinking that there were many of these fruits in the Dragon Palace, Senior Chaotic, I need the experts from the Dragon Palace to bring the soul return fetal fruits here. It will take about 4 to 5 years. I hope you can wait for a while. Wang Xian continued to speak to the chaotic astral beast. 4 to 5 years is a short time. I will help you to remove the power of faith from the starfield fragment now. The chaotic astral beast said. Thank you, Senior Wonton. Wang Xian replied immediately. Hehe, this is our deal. Speaking of which, I have high hopes for you, Dragon King. In the future, even if you can't reach the Heaven Yuan creation realm, you will still be close to the invincible realm. The chaotic astral beast smiled and said, All right, let me get rid of the power of faith in the starfield fragment first. There is the power of the Heaven Yuan creation realm in it. If it wasn't for the suppression of the universe, it would be difficult for me to remove the power of faith from it. Yes, Senior Chaotic. We will not disturb you. Wang Xian nodded and looked at Lan Qingyue. Subsequently, he sent a message to Enlai and Lan Qingyue flew far away. He wanted Lan Qingyue and Enlai to exchange blows from afar. All right, the energy inside is clear now. The power of this star field fragment is indeed powerful. A heaven origin fortune level treasure is a universal treasure. This kind of universal treasure can be used by any expert of any energy level. In other words, a heaven origin fortune treasure can be used by any expert of the universe. The star behemoths in our universe can also use it. Plus, it's very useful to me. For years later, the chaotic galactic beast cleared the energy in the star zone fragment and said to Wang Xian, if we can find the remaining fragments, we might be able to restore them. Here, you can refine them first. Thank you, Senior Chaos. When Wang Xian saw him handing the star zone fragment to him directly, he was slightly taken aback. Subsequently, he cupped his fists and expressed his gratitude. He took it, sensed it, and immediately found that there was no energy inside. He could completely nurture it. Once it was successfully nurtured, it could be controlled and used. In other words, the future belonged to him. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. He could feel a tremendous amount of energy from it. Once he refined it, he would be able to unleash terrifying strength. At that time, he could inject the energy of the 5 elements grindstone and Tai Chi dragon plate into it, and it would be enough to kill the pinnacle existences in the deity realm. One had to know that the 8 deity realm experts back then were merely in the 7th order realm. With this star zone fragment, they could match the pinnacle deity realm experts. Now that Wang Xian was controlling it and infused the energy of the 5 elements grindstone and Tai Chi dragon plate, he could kill pinnacle deity realm experts. As for how many pinnacle races he could kill, it was hard to say. But according to Wang Xian, there were at least 2. After all, this was just a heaven origin fortune fragment. There was an upper limit. At this time, he took out the communication stone plate and sent a message to Lan Qingyue. Senior, the soul-returning fruit is here. It will be delivered soon. Wang Xian said to the chaotic galactic beast. Hehe, all right, there's no hurry. The chaotic galactic beast replied. He waved his hand again and took out a storage item. There's a Beast King token, a letter from me, and 1,000 6th Order Sovereign Galactic Beast corpses. As for the treasure ground that's second only to your pinnacle races, I'll bring you there later. It's at the edge of the endless starry sea. Thank you, Senior Chaotic. Wang Xian took it and checked it. A smile appeared on his face. No need. After the cataclysm, even if we can't become friends, there's no need for us to become enemies. The giant chaotic astral beast said, Oh yes, Senior, I have a question. Why did you allow experts from the Nine Origins universe and the Faith universe to enter the Starry universe? Wang Xian could not help but ask. This was their own territory, and they naturally did not want outsiders to invade. Now that experts from the Nine Origins universe and the Faith universe were active here, he was a little puzzled. The Nine Origins universe was fine, but what about the Faith universe? We have an agreement with the Nine Origins universe. As for the Faith universe, we don't care. As for the other top-tier galactic beasts in the Starry universe, we don't care about them at all. With the Starry universe's suppression, they can't threaten them. Most importantly, due to the special nature of the Starry universe, there are no civilizations that belong to the galactic beasts in the Starry universe other than hunting techniques. Another point is that the Starry universe's strength can be ranked in the top 3 among all the other universes. Even when the cataclysm arrives, experts from other universes don't dare to come to the endless Starry universe, even if it's the heavenly origin creation realm. There are many heavenly origin creation realm galactic beasts in the endless Starry universe. As Wang Xian spoke, a look of shock appeared on Hun Dun's face. The strength of the Starry universe is so strong? He was a little surprised. Yes. Otherwise, why would we appear in the Nine Origins universe? Why haven't we been killed after appearing there? Hun Dun replied with a smile. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. Although there were no civilizations in the Starry universe, their strength was terrifying. It was so terrifying that when the cataclysm arrived, the endless Starry universe was a pure land. No experts from other universes dared to step into it. Chapter 3880. The strength of the Starry Sky universe was beyond Wang Xian's expectations. According to the Chaos Star Behemoth, there were quite a few fortune-grade star behemoths in the infinite Starry River. This surprised Wang Xian slightly. Whoosh whoosh. At this moment, Lan Xinghua flew over along with Roving Crab. Apart from some other treasures, there was also a powerful treasure land in this transaction. This treasure land was second only to the Peak Race's treasure land. Naturally, an expert from the Dragon Palace had to come and watch. With Ao Xie's current strength, he was considered the strongest in the Dragon Palace besides the Mystic Dragon. Let Ao Xie stand guard. Xiao Xian, the fruit of soul return is here, Lan Xinghua said to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded his head and gestured to her. Senior Chaos here. With a wave of her arm, Lan Xinghua threw all the soul-returning fruits to the chaotic astral beast. The 2 ball-like tentacles on top of Chaos' head moved and called him over. After sizing him up for a moment, a smile appeared on his face. All right, give me the remaining 200 or so after 100 million years. Happy trade. The chaotic star beast said with satisfaction. Happy cooperation. Wang Xian nodded his head with a smile. Let's go. I'll take you to that treasure land. I've occupied that treasure land. There are no giant beasts of starry sky there. I'll leave my aura there so that other giant beasts of starry sky won't dare to come over. The chaotic star beast said. Wang Xian and the rest felt a surge of energy shrouding them. In the next instant, the scenery around them changed. The terrifying speed made Wang Xian and the rest unable to see their surroundings clearly. When the Chaos Galactic Beast stopped, they came to a strange object floating in the middle of the ocean. This object floated in the middle of the ocean, and its surface area was comparable to a small star. Some of them looked like strange trees. It was flickering with the power of lightning. This is the place. You can enter and feel it. The lightning here contains a huge amount of life force. Wanton Galactic Beast said to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded his head. As he got closer, he could feel the majestic power of lightning. This power of lightning was extremely gentle. Wang Xian could even absorb it. After absorbing it, Wang Xian could sense that there was healing energy within the lightning. If Wang Xian was injured, he could recover quickly here. The central location is very beneficial to the lightning type of your 9 essences universe, as well as the lightning dragons of your dragon palace. The chaotic astral beast's voice rang out. Wang Xian sensed it and nodded his head. Thank you, Senior Chaos. The dragon palace is very satisfied with this deal. Hee, I'm also very satisfied. It's very safe here. By the way, unless you have my letter, don't step into the infinite starry sky. There are many star behemoths domains there. Once you're targeted, you'll be completely killed. Some resurrection treasures have no effect on star behemoths. Always be careful. I'm looking forward to you creating a new world for yourself, Dragon King. Hundun said. Thank you, Senior. Wang Xian cupped his fist and replied respectfully. The sphere on the giant chaotic astral beast's horn flashed and disappeared in an instant. This Senior Chaos is pretty good. He's very trustworthy. Lan Qingyue whispered to Wang Xian as she watched him leave. Yes, I can sense that Senior Chaos has no ill intentions. Not bad. Wang Xian nodded his head and smiled at Lan Qingyue. Not a bad deal. Yes. Lan Qingyue nodded her head with a smile. Xiao Xian, something happened in the giant starry sky city. Prime Minister Turtle asked me to tell you about it. The Faith Universe Army wanted to attack the giant starry sky city. But after hearing that we had killed the group of deities, they fled and gave up on attacking the giant starry sky city. In addition, the Faith Universe Army should be aware of our strength. It will take at least 1,000 years for the 21 armies to escape from the giant starry sky city to the passage of the Faith Universe Army. Besides that, there's also the matter with the Phoenix race. A dozen of our Dragon Palace disciples who were killed have been resurrected. It won't take long for them to come back to life. At that time, the truth will be revealed. However, Prime Minister Turtle speculates that there's a 90% chance that the Phoenix race is deliberately looking for trouble. Lan Qingyue spoke again and told Wang Xian one by one. Oh? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow. We can deal with the matter of the Phoenix clan killing the disciples of our Dragon Palace later. Anyway, they won't be able to escape. Let's deal with the Faith Universe Army first. Their 21 army is a huge resource for our Dragon Palace. As Wang Xian spoke, his eyes sparkled. All the power of faith from the corpses of the experts from the Faith Universe Army would shrink into the heart of faith after their deaths. In other words, although the corpses of the experts from the Faith Universe Army could not increase the energy of the experts and disciples of the Dragon Palace. However, the power of faith had an extremely powerful effect on breaking through. Now that there were 21 faith universes and over 20 million deities and believers, if Wang Xian could kill some of them, the speed of improvement of the Dragon Palace would remain at a terrifying level. Now, the Faith Universe Army should be preparing to escape to the passage. Wang Xian couldn't let them go back so easily. He had been trapped for over 30 million years. Now was the time for them to pay the price. He had to annihilate at least a few armies. It would be even better if he could annihilate all of them. However, it's not impossible. Wang Xian murmured. With a swing of his arm, the star field fragment appeared in his palm. Let's go. Let's enter the treasure land first and get in line to summon the Thunder Dragon from the Dragon Palace. As he spoke to Lan Qingyue, they flew into the treasure land. When they arrived at the center of the treasure land, Wang Xian sat down with his legs crossed. As long as I can refine this star field fragment, I will have the strength to kill pinnacle deities. At that time, I won't care about the Faith Universe Army or the Phoenix clan. I'll kill them directly. Wang Xian said to Lan Qingyue with a smile. Xiao Xian, how long will this refining take? Lan Qingyue asked Wang Xian. It might take tens of thousands of years. I'll do a simple nurturing first. Even if the Faith Universe Army has some flying treasures, it will take at least 500 to 600 years to return to the passage of the Faith Universe Army. I'll do a simple nurturing first. After 200 years, I'll look for the Faith Universe Army. Wang Xian made up his mind. He would do a simple nurturing first. It would be sufficient for him to have strength comparable to pinnacle deities. At that time, he would look for the Faith Universe Army. It was time to reap the harvest. Chapter 3881. Wang Xian had lain dormant for more than 30 million years. He did not commit suicide to leave this place. He had been waiting for the day of revenge. However, this day had come very suddenly. Not only had Lan Qingyue's strength improved, but she had also obtained a powerful stellar field fragment. This was a heavenly Yuan fortune-level treasure. In the Faith universe, the experts of the 8 palaces had fought for these 8 fragments. As for Wang Xian, he obtained it with relative ease. He would deal with the Phoenix race later. He would deal with the army of the Faith universe first. Wang Xian entrenched himself in the center of the lightning treasured land. The 5 elements grindstone and the Tai Chi dragon plate flew out and circled around him. They began to nurture the stellar field fragment. Only after nurturing could they be controlled and used. With the help of the Tai Chi dragon plate and the 5 elements grindstone, the speed would increase tremendously. As the days passed, more and more thunder dragons were teleported to this lightning treasured land by Enlai. This was a treasured land, and it was indeed a rare existence. The energy it contained was only slightly less than the Fire Heart treasure land. The thunder dragons and the disciples of the Dragon Palace could cultivate at a much faster speed. With the help of the Heart of Faith, the experts of the Dragon Palace could improve at a very fast speed. Time passed day by day. 100 years later, a sudden roar came from the front of the Starry Sky City. After the army of the Faith universe retreated, the entire Nine-Source universe had entered an era of peace. However, all the experts and disciples knew that the peace in the Nine-Source universe would not last long, because the Dragon Palace would probably take revenge on the Phoenix race. Many experts and disciples from the pinnacle races and high-level races were also waiting. However, more than 100 years had passed, and the Dragon Palace had not taken any action. However, this time, the experts and disciples of the Nine-Source universe were not so anxious to think that the Dragon Palace would not take revenge, because the Dragon King was currently in the Faith universe. If he wanted to fly over, it would take a few hundred years. There was no war, and the entire Starry Sky City was in peace. On this day, a sudden roar shocked all the experts and disciples in the Starry Sky City. They're here. They're finally here. At this moment, in the building with the symbol of the Phoenix race in the Starry Sky City, when the dozen 7th Order Sovereign Realm Phoenixes heard the roar, they heaved a sigh of relief in their hearts. The Green Cherry Giant Space Beast clan is here. Our Phoenix clan has already negotiated with them. They have sent 4 7th Order Sovereigns. With them around, no matter how strong the Dragon King is, what can he do to us? Let's go and welcome them. The experts of the Phoenix clan moved and flew towards the front of the Starry Sky Giant City. Chirp, chirp, chirp. At the same time, they cried out in response. Is that the giant star beast race that the Phoenix race has contacted? It's already here. What a terrifying aura. It should be a 7th Order Sovereign Realm Giant Space Beast. The Phoenix clan should have reached an agreement with the Galactic Beast clan. It won't be that easy for the Dragon King and the others to kill the experts of the Phoenix clan. What a terrifying aura. The Phoenix race has really contacted the Giant Star Beast clan. Moreover, they have sent several powerful experts with strength comparable to a peak Sovereign Realm expert. In our 9 Origins Cosmos and the Faith Cosmos, they are invincible existences. The strength of the Dragon King and the others is at most comparable to a 7th Order Sovereign Realm Giant Space Beast. It seems like the crisis of the Phoenix race is about to be resolved. I wonder what price they paid. In the Starry Sky City, the experts of the various peak forces looked in the direction of the roar when they heard it. When they saw the Phoenix race flying towards them, they muttered under their breath. What's that over there? What's going on? Why are there giant space beasts flying towards us? Why are the Phoenix race flying towards them? What kind of giant star beast is that? It's so terrifying. It's even more terrifying than the 21 legions of the Faith Cosmos. Inside the Starry Sky City, the experts and disciples of the various peak forces were shocked when they saw this scene. The experts of the various peak forces were no longer ignorant fools. They had a better understanding of the experts in the Sovereign Realm. They felt that the might of the 4 giant star beasts flying over was even more terrifying than the 21 legions of the universe of faith and the more than 20 million gods and believers. In fact, they weren't even on the same level. They were incomparably shocked. In the next moment, All the experts and disciples in the Starry Sky City saw the experts of the Phoenix race chatting with the 4 giant space beasts before bringing them away. This? What's going on? Those 4 giant space beasts are in cahoots with the Phoenix race? Hiss, it can't be, right? Such terrifying giant space beasts are actually acquainted with the Phoenix race? Doesn't that mean that the Phoenix race also possesses terrifying strength? Those 4 giant space beasts are definitely at the 7th Order Sovereign Realm. They are comparable to peak Sovereign Realm experts. If the Phoenix race has such experts, even the Dragon Palace's Dragon King won't be able to do anything to them. It's more than that. Even the Dragon Palace's Dragon King might not be a match for the Phoenix race. As expected of the peak forces, they actually have such a terrifying trump card. All the experts and disciples in the Starry Sky City were discussing. Everyone thought that the Phoenix race was going to suffer the crazy revenge of the Dragon Palace. They might have to pay a terrible price. Who would have thought that the Phoenix race would actually call over 4 terrifying giant space beasts? With such power, even if the Dragon Palace's Dragon King had reached the peak Sovereign Realm, the Phoenix race would still be able to contend with them. This made all the experts and disciples exclaim at the powerful trump card and strength of the peak forces once again. This would also cause a huge change in the future war between the Phoenix race and the Dragon Palace. This news quickly spread through the communication stone plate. 100 years passed quickly again. There was still no movement from the Dragon Palace. At the same time, at the lightning treasured land, Wang Xian looked at the energy within the stellar field fragment with a smile on his face. After 200 years of nurturing, with the help of the 5 elements grindstone and the Tai Chi dragon plate, the speed of nurturing was much faster than he had expected. Moreover, the power he could control in the stellar field fragment was much stronger than he had expected.